So I need to... Can I group? Alright, there we go. First! Hello! Hello! It's a warrior cat Wednesday. I'm busy. Goodbye! Blackie! Is baby Noelle home? Please enjoy your cat backpack. Very cute. My bleed team consists of 3 vampires, a toxic straight eerie duo, some lady with a sword, and a guy who's only on the team because he's legally a bleed unit. Oh, that's a nice little group of people. He's listening! Oh my gosh! Hi, baby Noelle! How are you? Are you a cutie patootie? Are you awake? Are you gonna read... You're gonna listen to Warrior Cats today? Wow. This is my youngest viewer, I think. How old is he? How old is he right now? Like... 4 days old? 4 days! I knew it! This is my youngest viewer / listener ever. Really, really impressive. I lost my title. I think you lost your title quite a while ago. A lot of YouTube viewers are quite young. Wow. I'm honored. Is he awake? 3 days and 16 hours? 3 days then. Yeah. What's he like? What's his personality? What's his personality like within the first 3 days? Got my webcam up on him so Abby can watch him on Discord. Oh, is Abby at work? He's awake and a kicker. Oh, he's gonna... Watch out. Do you have like... Did you take like parenting classes? Or they're just kind of like, here you go. Have fun. And then you took the child home and you're like, alright. Wait, why is it... Oh no, Abby must be at the hospital still. Why would Abby be at work? Abby, don't go to work, please. Please don't be at work. Please don't be at work, Abby. They made us watch 3 videos and that's really it. I remember my son of a pickle reel. My home economics teacher in high school, she was like, yeah, when we had a baby, they gave us like babies at our PC playing gachas. Oh, good. Mama time off. Mama relax sesh. Is he sleeping well? Is baby sleeping well? Very well. Heck yeah. The ideal baby. But yeah, my home ec teacher, they gave her like a baby care kit, like a basket full of like wipes and some diapers and maybe like some mittens and stuff, and a little carrier, and was like, all right, here you go, bye. And then they went home and they stood in their living room with the baby in the little cradle, and they're like, what do we do? Like, what's happening? What are we doing? And then they went to bed with the baby in between them. I watched them while reading books. He slept on Mama's chest when they both napped. Good. Good parents. Child. Wow. Your baby. I love babies so much. He's just a loaf. He's so cute, guys. You don't get to see him, but I do. He's so cute. Oh, I wanted to work in like childcare. I took childcare courses when I was in college. Live parent updates in Nono's carnival stream. Babies. They're so little. They're so little. My ideal baby time is when they're born to when they have opinions. And then I'm scared of them again. You can show the picture if you want. I'm too lazy. No, I'll show it. Okay, I'll show it. Because it's blurry enough. Image. King Boo, hi! Hi, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. You were just chatting? What were you chatting about? We're about to look at my regular's baby. This is the setup. Guys, look at this. This is my youngest viewer ever. My kid's a bunch, but I'm also 18, so that's subject. I love babies. I've always loved babies. But once they get too old, then I'm scared of them. They have opinions. Human! Tiny! Little! Itty bitty! Bobo! Aww! Wow. Sabine! He's a little pea pod. So beautiful. Okay, we'll get rid of that now. Look at the little Espin. Congrats again to the parents. The priests and princess salute me. I don't have my glasses on. I can't tell which part is the head and which isn't. I think that's most of a baby, honestly. It's like... Oh wait, there was this... Mwah! There was a song where you like grab their like hands and you go... Up, 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 down, down, down. With like their arms and stuff. You go wide, 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 small, small, small. And it helps them like, learn things, but also helps stimulate them because you're like moving their arms and stuff. Your voice so cute. Thank you. I'm missing, I think Juice and Maddie are busy chatting about what's that thing? Mobus company. Moberus. Life is beautiful. Gotcha! I'm late today because I was playing Heartopia. I'm trying to make my own house with the blueprints. I found out that a way that you can easily copy paste, I guess, without necessarily needing all of the furniture immediately is you go into your blueprints and you make it all in your blueprints and then you paste your blueprints and it auto will like craft the things that you're missing. You just have to make sure you have enough wood and dye and money. So that's what I was doing, and then I lost track of time. I was doing that for like 2 hours. I'm ready for factory games. Oh, by the way, I may have gotten into another Minecraft SMP. That was the third one in a row. That's the last one though. Probably. I mean, I think I applied to 2 more, but they were events and I haven't heard back. See, what happened was everyone released these dang Minecraft SMPs at the same time, and I was like, I'm not gonna get in all of these. I'm just gonna apply to all of them. And I applied to all of them, and then I got into every single one. So there's 2 more that I applied to, and I haven't heard back yet because one of the apps closed today. So I'll find out today if I'll find out later if that I got to that one. And then there was another one that I applied to, and that one might be a little bit more if I find out that I'm in that one too. So this one is more, it's not a roleplay server, so that's nice. I can just like play it. I'll wait until the person wants to release information for it. But yeah, I maybe am a Minecraft streamer now. We'll see. By we'll see, I'm like 80%. Arknikes, the new Arknikes one. The new Animal Crossing. Okay, so the new Animal Crossing update came out today, and I was so excited for it. But ever since Heartopia dropped, it's like Heartopia fills that same brain cell of creating. You can even design things in Heartopia. You can make clothes. And while they don't have it set up yet that you can download people's designs or blueprints and stuff for the houses, I'm like 90% sure that's going to come out soon. Apparently in the Chinese app version, they can import other people's blueprints already, so that's already happening. It's so nice. Zelda outfits are cute. You guys are, my brain isn't computing with chat, but I'm glad that you guys are having fun. I saw the new Arknikes game. Or the mobile game. But I can't remember if I pre-installed it. Don't say sorry. I know some people are pretty, like, adamant on it. I think if I were playing a game, then I would be a little bit more adamant on staying on topic. But because it's just chatting, I don't really care. Plus, I'm going to be reading Warrior Cats, so you guys can just keep talking while I play Warrior Cats. Not play Warrior Cats, read Warrior Cats. Alright. Let us, speaking of, read Warrior Cats. This dedication goes out to Noelle. Because actually, surprisingly, there's a birthright happening. Where bully? Bully not allowed on Warrior Cat Wednesday day. No bully on Warrior Cat Wednesday. Because if I'm reading, then we don't want to be smacked in the face. Okay. Understandable. Okay, so previously on Warrior Cat Wednesday, which was last year, actually. Was it last year? And then... Yeah, it was. Hi, Stricken Nomad! Oh my god, it's been so long! How are you? I'm wonderful! It's nice to see you! What is that emote? Is that an arm? And then, like, thumbs up? I can't tell what that is. You're alright, you suppose? That's better than not. Ben, hello! Ben. Alright, so, previously on Warrior Cat Wednesday, we're in like a plot where there's these evil rogue guys, this group of rogues that want the forest cats to basically pay taxes, and the taxes are food, like prey, but it's winter, and so there's not very much food, and nobody really wants to agree to it. But what they did was they took Clear Sky's mate away and held her hostage. And she's also pregnant with his babies, so he's like even crazier. And they're like, you have to get everybody to agree to this. And so they went. Clear Sky went around and asked everybody to come meet up, and they can do the discussions. And secretly, everybody else met up, and they're like, we're going to do a plan to make sure that we don't agree with what Clear Sky wants us to do, and also rescue his mate, Starflower, at the same time. So they devised a plan that while the meeting was going on, and the meeting ended terribly because they couldn't come up with something, and Clear Sky was like wallowing on the ground, sobbing. And everyone was like, "Stop being dramatic, get up." And he's like, and then they were like, "We actually got her." And then it cut to the infiltration team who went into the rogue camp and took Starflower, and they're escaping. And then all of a sudden, she started screaming, and she's having babies. That's how we ended. She's collapsed on the ground screaming, and she's giving birth. Bad timing. It was a great cliffhanger. Yeah! Okay, so that's where we are. I'm gonna read. We'll still end at the same time, even though I started a little bit later, because I have stuff to do, like grocery shopping. And houses to finish building. Reading time. As usual, I have to get used to reading again. It's been almost a year. I'm kidding. That doesn't work. It's been since last year. It's been since last year. Hello, Alexis. It's been since last year, and I might read chat. If there's a raid, I'll read chat. Usually I'll take a break and like comment when something spicy happens. You need to play Firewatch. I do need to play Firewatch. Wasn't there a reference to Firewatch in Stanley Parable? Something like that. Probably. Okay. We will begin. Chapter 6. Greywing struggled to steady his breathing. Are you sure? Of course! Reed snapped his gaze back to Starflower. She lay on her side, a low moan rolling in her throat, her flanks convulsed. But it's so early, she croaked, fear flashing in her green eyes. A monster growled on the thunderpath. Greywing glanced up, blinded as its eyes drenched them in light. Instinctively, he lunged forward, protecting Starflower with his body as the monster tore past. The grass streamed around them, and an acrid wave of stench blasted over him. It burned inside his chest, but Greywing ignored the pain. Fighting back a cough, he glanced over his shoulder. Had Lightning Tail and Leaf managed to drive the other guards away? Had news of the rescue reached the rogue camp? Was a bigger patrol coming? We have to get Starflower away from here. How? Reed stared at Starflower. She can't walk! Starflower screeched as another convulsion seemed to grip her. I'll get help. Greywing tried to ignore his wheezing. There wasn't time. Reed looked at him, his ears twitching. I'll go, he growled. You need to catch your breath. Greywing shook his head. You know more about herbs than me, he told the silver tabby. Find her something to help her pain. Here? Reed stared at the grass verge, then flicked his gaze towards the pines. I don't know anything about forest herbs. Then guess! Greywing was already on his paws. He leaped across the verge and pelted between the pines. Tall Shadow's camp was closest, and he knew the quickest route, dodging brambles and leaping ditches. He raced through the darkness. He struggled for breath, wondering if he could keep going. He felt as though he were underwater, trying to swim for the shore before he ran out of air. I can't let Starflower die, or her kids. He had to get help. The forest thickened, the branches blocking out the moonlight. Greywing dodged past trees, the rough bark scraping his flanks. Running on instinct, he managed to skim the jutting roots, leap ditches, and swerve past trailing brambles. At last, the trees thinned. The camp was near. He strained to see, trying to ignore the desperate pain in his chest. In the weak moonlight that filtered through the branches here, he saw the camp's shadowy walls. He veered around them and burst through the entrance, his lungs on fire. Jagged Peak! He caught sight of the great tabby Tom limping across the clearing. Jagged Peak spun, pelt bushing. Shock showed in his eyes. Greywing! Help! Greywing gasped and dropped onto his belly. Dragging in air, he felt dizzy, the camp swimming around him. Where's Starflower? Jagged Peak was at his side in a moment. He knew about Greywing's plan. Did you save her? Are you hurt? The kids! Greywing wheezed. Kids? Jagged Peak looked puzzled. Twigs rustled around Greywing as the forest cats scrambled from their nests, eyes glinting in the entrance of the dens. Sunshadow poked his head out. Mouseier slid into the moonlight. Holly hurried into the clearing. Pebbleheart raced towards Greywing. Is Tall Shadow okay? He scrambled to a halt. Are you okay? Greywing fought to find enough breath to explain. Starflower's kids, he rasped. Her kids? Pebbleheart ducked close, his pelt rippling. Are they coming? Greywing nodded mutely. It's too soon. Pebbleheart looked at Jagged Peak, panic flashing in his gaze. Jagged Peak ignored him and stared at Greywing. Oh! Sorry, I'm reading chat right now. Alexis, I haven't seen your channel in so long with Don Kachi. Hope you're doing amazing. Yeah! Oh, I'm glad you found me again. Ankachi. I hope that you've been having fun with Dun. Hi, Brandon. Jagged Peak ignored him and stared at Greywing. Where is she? Did you get her away from the rogues? Yes, but she collapsed. Rogues following. Greywing managed to blurt out the words, hoping Jagged Peak would know what to do. Jagged Peak lifted his head. Mouseier, Sunshadow, Holly, go and find Starflower. Bring her here. There may not be time if the kids are coming. Pebbleheart flicked his tail as the three cats started for the camp entrance. Let me come too. I might be able to help. Jagged Peak glanced at him. The young Tom looked determined. Okay. Greywing pushed himself to his paws, the air slowly returning to his lungs. I'll show you the way, he wheezed. You need to rest, Pebbleheart told him sharply. I know where he is. Greywing gasped. Starflower's desperate yowling rang in his mind. She's suffering. If you follow the wrong trail, she might die. Mouseier stopped at the entrance. He's right. He can rest when he's shown us where to go, Holly agreed. Pebbleheart looked anxiously at Greywing. Will you be okay? I have to be. Greywing told him grimly. He headed after the others, struggling to hide the shakiness of his paws. Holly waited for him to catch up and pressed against him. Lean on me, she murmured. I can manage. Just lean, she told him firmly. He relaxed against her, relieved to feel some of the weight leave his paws as she moved beside him, her shoulders supporting his. Mouseier hurried ahead as they left camp. Which way? His gaze scanned the shadows. Towards the ditches. Greywing puffed. He jerked his nose towards the thickening pines. She's beside the thunder path. Mouseier harried away, Pebbleheart at his heels. Their pelts were quickly swallowed by the darkness. Hurry! Greywing pushed on harder, relieved to find Holly keeping up. Sunshadow pressed against his other flank. Together, they took his weight so that his paws seemed to skim the earth. Is this the right way? Pebbleheart's mew echoed from the blackness ahead. Wait! Greywing puffed as Holly and Sunshadow steered him towards the young Tom's voice. They caught up to him in a pool of moonlight where a fallen tree had left a hole in the canopy. Mouseier was circling Pebbleheart, his gaze scanning the forest. Greywing stretched his nose forward. Cross the ditch and head straight, he ordered. She's beyond the thickest part of the forest. Pebbleheart and Mouseier hared away again. Holly and Sunshadow pressed harder against Greywing. Frustration clawed at his belly. He felt like an ancient lumbering badger. He shouldn't need help like this. Why did his breathing have to be so bad? He let them lead him after Mouseier and Pebbleheart until they reached the ditches. Sunshadow and Holly broke away. You need to leap these yourself, Holly warned him. Greywing drew in a shuddering breath, realizing with relief that his breathing had eased. He leaped the first ditch and crossed the short stretch of ground to the next. He leaped again, then again, until he'd crossed the path. He'd crossed the rutted clearing, then veered towards the trail he'd followed from the thunder path. He halted as Hollow and Sunshadow caught up. There was no sign of Pebbleheart or Mouse Ears. Scent. They've gone the wrong way. Pebbleheart! Holly yowled through the trees. Over here! Paws pounded across the ground, and a moment later Mouseier crashed from the darkness. Pebbleheart pulled up beside him. It's this way, Greywing told them, ducking into the bramble-strewn trail he'd followed earlier. He led them as the trees thickened around him. The foul stench of the thunder path touched his nose. He pricked his ears, hearing nothing but the distant rumble of a monster. Hope pricked in his heart for a moment. No battle cries. The rogues hadn't reached Starflower yet. But why wasn't she yowling with pain? What if she... He pushed fear away as it threatened to swamp him and hurried faster between the trees. Holly was at his tail. As the trail narrowed between the brambles, he could hear her campmates pounding behind her. Ahead the monster's roar grew. He broke from the trees as it passed, blinding him with its blazing eyes. He blinked, startled for a moment, and then, as the monster pounded away, scanned the verge. Reed was still crouching where he'd left him. Starflower lay in the grass beside him. Is she okay? Greywing hurried to his side. The queen was panting hard. He sniffed. He stiffened when he saw Reed's paws glistening darkly. Is that blood? Yes. Panic showed in the silver Tom's eyes. I found some time to help with the shock, and she's focusing on her breathing to help with the pain, but I can't stop the bleeding. Pebbleheart nosed past him. Any sign of the kids? Reed met the young Tom's gaze. Not yet, but I hope it won't be long. There's too much blood. Holly pushed past Greywing. We must get her back to camp. She nodded to Sunshadow. The Black Tom leaned down and shoved his nose beneath Starflower's shoulders. She grunted as he heaved her up onto his back. Mouseier quickly ducked beneath her. Reed pressed against her flank. Pebbleheart darted to her other side. Supporting the queen between them, the four cats began to head into the forest. Starflower groaned. She dipped and rose like a leaf being carried downstream as they moved. Stay close to each other, Holly ordered. You mustn't let her fall. We won't, Sunshadow grunted. Greywing followed, recovering his breath as they moved slowly between the trees. They swerved to avoid the ditches, taking the long trail around. As they neared the bramble wall of camp, Greywing heard paws pounding the earth behind them. His heart lurched as he stopped and scanned the shadows. Were the rogues following their trail? Eyes glinted between the trees. Greywing! Lightning Tail's mew rang out. He hurried closer, his black pelt dappled by moonlight. Leaf was at his heels. Where are the rogues? Greywing glanced past the two cats anxiously. We chased them off, Leaf told him. Lightning Tail blinked at Starflower and the others as the others carried her into camp. Is she hurt? The kids are coming, Greywing told him, and they're very early. Leaf frowned. Does Clear Sky know? Greywing stiffened. Clear Sky! He'd been so panicked about Starflower that he hadn't thought about his brother. Had the other leaders told him of the plan to rescue Starflower yet? He dashed away, calling over his shoulder. Tell Jagged Peak I'll bring Clear Sky as soon as I find him. His mind whirled. Where was he? At the Four Trees Hollow? On his way to get Starflower? I have to cut him off. Greywing quickened his pace. Slash might have learned about Starflower's escape by now. What if he sent out a patrol? Clear Sky mustn't run into a band of angry rogues. You imagine Clear Sky backed against a tree, hackles up, teeth bared, rogues closing in on him. Fear spiraling, Greywing cut through the woods, trying to guess the fastest route from the Four Trees Hollow into the Cairn place. He must be headed through the pines. Wheezing, Greywing zigzagged, covering as much ground as he could, ears pricked for the sound of paw steps. The tightness in his chest hardened, and he pressed on. As he reached the bottom of the slope that led to the border between Clear Sky's land and Tall Shadow's, he heard voices. We should have rescued her as soon as we knew where she was. It was Clear Sky. Greywing stopped. Clear Sky stood at the top of the rise. Wind Runner was beside him, while River Ripple, Tall Shadow, and Thunder crowded behind. Clear Sky! Greywing puffed. Clear Sky's eyes widened. He bounded down the slope. Did you rescue her? Is she safe? We got her away from the rogues, Clear Sky told him, but the kids are coming. Clear Sky's pelt bushed. Already? It's too soon. Tall Shadow raced to join them. Where is she? We took her to Tall Shadow's camp, Greywing told him. Pebbleheart and Reed are with her. Tall Shadow frowned. Have they had kids? Have they even seen a kidding? Holly's with her too, Greywing reassured her. She's had kids. So have I. Oh, so have I. Windrunner scrambled down the slope. I know what to do. She darted past Greywing and headed for the camp, Tall Shadow close at her heels. Clear Sky blinked at Greywing, then followed the two she-cats. River Ripple hesitated at the top of the slope. Too many paws that a kidding will just get in the way. Please send word that Starflower and the kits are all right. Thunder patted closer. Are Lightning Tail and Leaf okay? Greywing nodded. They helped carry Starflower to Tall Shadow's camp. They're there now. Thunder flicked his tail, looking relieved. Send them home when they're ready. I must go. Their campmates will be worried. His gaze fixed on Greywing, earnest in the moonlight. I hope Starflower's okay. Greywing blinked at the Tom. Thanks for agreeing to meet with Slash tonight, he meowed. It gave us the time we needed to rescue Starflower. It was a good plan, Greywing, Thunder answered. I'm glad I got the chance to help. River Ripple dipped his head. Let's hope the stars are on our side, he meowed solemnly. Early kits rarely survive. Greywing's belly tightened. He glanced meaningfully towards Thunder. Clear Sky's kits are strong, he murmured. This litter will be fine. He headed after his brother, quickening his pace as he neared the camp. Nosing through the ramble entrance, he scanned the clearing. Mousiear and Mudpaws paced at the far end nervously. Jagged Peak sat and watched, his pelt prickly along his spine. Shapes were huddled at the edge of the camp, beneath the dome of woven brambles. He hurried towards them, tensing as he scented blood. Blinking through the darkness, he saw Pebbleheart hanging back beside Reed and Tall Shadow. Lightning Tail shifted from one paw to another, watching as Windrunner and Holly moved around Starflower. He could hear the desperate panting of the queen. Clear Sky crouched by her head. It's okay, my love, he murmured. Everything will be okay. Greywing slowed to a stop beside Pebbleheart. Isn't there anything you can do? Pebbleheart had always had a natural skill for healing. The young Tom shook his head. They know far more than me about kidding, but I'll learn all I can. He didn't take his eyes from the she-cats as Windrunner ran her paw over Starflower's belly, while Holly lapped at the queen's cheek. Just one more push, Windrunner murmured. You're doing really well, Holly crooned. Starflower's body convulsed as though a fox had grabbed her. She yowled a long, deep yowl, her eyes rolling with pain. Clear Sky winced and pressed his muzzle to her head. It's She-Kit! Windrunner's mew of triumph rang through the air. Greywing leaned forward and saw a glistening scrap of fur, slick and wet and half covered in a pale membrane. The kit squirmed on the ground, tiny paws churning. Tall Shadow purred. She hesitated. Is she okay? She looks like any newborn kit, Windrunner proclaimed happily, only smaller. Quickly, she scooped up the kit and placed her beside Starflower's muzzle. Give her a wash and keep her warm, she ordered. But Starflower had already stretched out her nose and was lapping her newborn kit, her eyes shining with joy. Then she stiffened as another convulsion gripped her. As she writhed, growling with the pain, Holly snatched the she-kit from beside her muzzle and tucked her safely beneath her own belly. Push! Windrunner ordered. Starflower shuddered and moaned. Windrunner leaned back, her eyes lighting up. Another she-kit! Starflower convulsed again. And a Tom! Windrunner purred loudly as she picked up both kits between her jaws and placed them beside Starflower. She ran her paw over Starflower's belly. That was the last, I think. And the bleeding stopped. Pebbleheart darted forward. May I feel? Starflower lifted her head groggily and stared at the young Tom. I want to learn to help if any of my campmates have kits, Pebbleheart told her. Starflower gave a deep purr, amusement lighting her wary gaze. Go ahead. Her mew was slurred with relief. Pebbleheart tentatively ran his paw over her belly, tipping his head to one side, his eyes glazing as he disappeared into his own thoughts. Greywing knew that look well. Pebbleheart had always been wise beyond his years, staring into the distance as though lost in another world, When his litter mates had wanted to play, Greywing's thoughts flitted to moth flight. Perhaps some cats are born to see beyond hunting and fighting. What do you think? Starflower's mew cut into his thoughts. She was staring at clear sky, her three kits squirming at her belly. They're beautiful. Clear Sky buried his muzzle in his mate's neck fur. Pebbleheart stepped away. Holly and Windrunner withdrew to Tall Shadow's side. Greywing stared at his brother. Clear Sky had lifted his head and was staring at the tiny, slick-furred kits with a look of wonder that Greywing had never seen in his eyes. Pure love melted his ice-blue gaze. He leaned gently forward and lapped at one of the she-kits, who was nuzzling deeper into Starflower's belly. Greywing felt his chest soften and his breathing ease. A deep longing tugged in his chest. How he wished to feel the love that was clearly sweeping Clear Sky now. He had felt like a father to Turtletail's kits, and he loved them all. The pure joy glowing in his brother's eyes took him by surprise, and he wished that he could one day feel the same. Windrunner shifted her paws. They all look perfectly healthy, but they're very small. Pebbleheart glanced at his leader. Can they stay here for a while, Tall Shadow? Just until they're a little stronger? Tall Shadow nodded. Of course. Pebbleheart blinked at Clear Sky. Will you let them stay? A trip through the forest might expose them to unnecessary risks. Clear Sky glanced at Windrunner. What do you think? For a few days, Windrunner advised. Holly's ears twitched. I've never seen kits so small. Make sure they stay warm, and don't let them have too many visitors. Pebbleheart flicked his tail anxiously. Don't let any sick cats near them for at least a moon. Of course not. Clear Sky looked alarmed. You'll be able to take him home soon, Windrunner promised Clear Sky. Kits grow fast. Clear Sky looked at the two she-cats, his gaze brimming with gratitude. Thank you for getting her safely through this. He glanced at his kits, his mew growing husky, and them. Greywing followed his brother's gaze, marveling at Starflower's strength and courage. Only a short while earlier, she had been fighting rogues. Now she was curled up around her first litter. Greywing? He realized that his brother was talking to him. What? He met Clear Sky's gaze, surprised by its warmth. Thank you for rescuing Starflower. It was the right thing to do. Clear Sky tipped his head to one side. Why did you keep your plans secret from me? Greywing blinked. If you'd known where she was, nothing would have kept you from her. But we needed to wait until Slash was distracted. And I was the distraction. You had to be convincing. Greywing dipped his head apologetically. It seemed the best way to get her back safely. I will always be grateful. It's nothing. Greywing shrugged. You'd have done the same for me. Doubt flickered in Clear Sky's moonlit gaze. Ooh, yikes. Then dissolved. He patted closer and rubbed his muzzle against Greywing's. His fur was warm against his cheek, his scent so familiar that, for a moment, Greywing thoughts flashed back to his kithood when they'd snuggled side by side at Quiet Rain's belly. He suddenly realized that Clear Sky was purring. Congratulations, he breathed. Thank you, brother, Clear Sky murmured, his mew cracking. I will never forget this. Bro owes him his life and 3 more. I was gonna say something. Oh, their kits are gonna be so good looking. I think Clear Sky's like a really good looking cat, and then Starflower has always been described as like the beautifulest meow meow ever, and everybody's eyes are like on her as she walks by. Hi, Fernando. Fernando. What's poppin'? Popcorn. I had some popcorn today. Cats, we are the cats. We're reading Warrior Cats today. Smormus. We just finished a chapter. I'm wondering, guys, I had Dr. Pepper last night, and it gave me the worst acid reflux. Not the worst, actually. It was I didn't get the pain, but I felt it, which I think is... It sucks, but at least it didn't hurt. What is Warriors? It's a series about cats that live in the wild. I got 2 rarer books today because they're double books in one cover. Apparently they're super hard to find because they were limited edition. Which books? Which ones? Moonrise and Midnight in one book. Wow. Oh wait, I remember seeing those. You should read more. Books are cool. Yeah, they are. Starlight and Twilight in the other. I think I remember seeing the Moonrise and Midnight. But not the Starlight and Twilight. Classic. That was like a bazillion years ago, though. Chapter 7. Frost-whitened leaves crunched beneath Thunder's paws. Sunshine dappled the forest floor. Although it was the coldest season, Leafbear brought light to the forest. Blue skies showed between the branches now that the lush green canopy had gone. Thunder felt a prickle of excitement. Pebbleheart had come to camp earlier to visit with his littermate Owl Eyes. He'd brought news that Clear Sky and Starflower had returned to their camp in the forest with the kits. In the days since her escape, Starflower had recovered from the trauma, and the kits were growing strong. When Lightning Tail had returned from the rescue mission, Thunder had been shocked by his injuries. Wounds scarred his flank, and his ear tip had been torn. A scratch near one eye was still swollen. Thunder wasn't convinced by Lightning Tail's assurance that it had been an easy fight. The sight of his friend, so battered by his encounter with the rogues, unnerved Thunder. Had Slash's boast been true? Were his rogues more numerous and more savage than the forest cats? He pushed the thought away now. Why spoil such a crisp Leafbear morning with worry? He was on his way to meet his newest kin, Tiny Branch, Dewpetal, and Flowerfoot. Flowerfoot? If I saw them, I would also buy them. One of my greatest regrets is at my local bookstore. They were selling the entire second series of Warrior Cats in bulk, and I didn't buy them. Can't believe I didn't. I regret it all the time. I know. As the forest sloped down towards Clear Sky's territory, Thunder kicked his white paws through the drifted leaves and hopped over fallen branches brought down by leaf-fall storms. When the brambles thinned and gave way to swaths of bracken, Thunder began to smell the scents of Clear Sky's cats. Nettle and Birch had passed this way recently. Instinctively, Thunder opened his mouth for tasted for prey scent. Were the woods here any richer than his own? He smelled only cat scent and the musky odor of fungus. The voles and mice, which had scuttled beneath every root and bush during Greenleaf, were clearly as scarce here as near the ravine. And with the squirrels taking their dens until New Leaf, there had been little to hunt besides a few careless birds. As he neared Clear Sky's camp, he recognized fresh scents. Blossom and Birch must be nearby. He slowed, scanning the bracken crowding the bramble entrance. "Hello?" he called out tentatively. He hadn't warned Clear Sky he was visiting. "Thunder?" Blossom slid out from the bracken and lifted her tail amiably. Birch hopped from the steep bank that edged the track. "Is anything wrong?" Worry darkened the Ginger Tom's eyes. "No." Thunder pricked his ears. "Should there be?" "Clear Sky put us on guard," Blossom told him. "He's sending out patrols day and night." Thunder's fur rippled uneasily. Is he worried Slash will retaliate? Birch scanned the forest quickly. He took Starflower once. Why wouldn't he do it again? Blossom snorted. "He better not try to," she growled. "We're ready for him this time." Birch thrust his muzzle towards Thunder. "Have you seen any of his rogues?" Thunder shrugged. Our part of the forest has been quiet. Good. Blossom patted a few tail links further into the forest and looked around. She glanced back at Thunder. "Are you here to visit the kits?" Thunder whisked his tail. "Yes, if that's okay." Blossom exchanged looks with Birch. No one's allowed near them yet," she warned Thunder. "But I'm sure Clear Sky will be pleased to see you. She's so grateful for everything the others did to rescue Starflower. Her gaze wavered for a moment. Thunder wondered whether she was pleased that Starflower was back. He knew that many cats still did not trust One-Eye's daughter. Hopefully, now that she was mother of Clear Sky's kits, there would be no doubts about her loyalty. Birch nodded towards the entrance. Clear Sky's in his den. Oh, Clear Sky's in his den, he told Thunder. He hardly comes out now. You may as well go and find him. Thunder dipped his head. Thank you. He slid through the prickly tunnel. The branches rattled around him. Quickwater looked up from beneath an oak as he padded into the clearing. Hi! The gray and white she-cat looked pleased to see him. Hi, he answered. I've come to visit my kin. He noticed that her fur clung to her frame, and realized suddenly that Birch and Blossom had looked leaner than usual, too. He wondered if he seemed skinny to them. He had gone to his nest hungry more than once over the past quarter moon. Acornfur and Thorn were sharing tongues beside a ewe. Acornfur looked up. Hi, Thunder. Did you see any prey on the way? I wish I had, Thunder told her. Thorn straightened, his ears still wet, and sighed. Looks like more freezing weather's on the way. That won't help the prey's return. At least it's not raining. At least it's not raining, Thunder answered, determined to be optimistic. He refused to believe that prey would stay hidden all Leaf Bare. A few more days in the forest would be teeming with mice and voles scavenging for food. Surely they must be hungry too. He crossed the clearing and leaped the bank, pushing through the break-in that shielded Clear Sky's den from the rest of the camp. The small clearing beyond was empty, but he heard mewling from the shadowy opening in the brambles. The kids! His heart quickened. They sounded so tiny, their shrill squeaks more like mouse cries. Clear Sky? He called across the stretch of leaf-strewn earth. His father's face appeared at the den entrance. Clear Sky's eyes lit up as he saw Thunder, and he squeezed out of the den. It's good to see you. Hi. Thunder blinked. Warmth shone in his father's gaze. His cheery welcome took him by surprise. He expected to find Clear Sky anxious and still angry about Starflower's ordeal. Instead, he seemed at ease with the world for the first time ever. How's Starflower? Clear Sky glanced fondly back towards the den. She's had a hard time. But now that she's home and safe, she'll be fine. And the kids? Thunder peered around him towards the den. May I see them? They're too small, I'm afraid, Clear Sky told him apologetically. They're to see no one until they're stronger. Stronger? Anxiety prickled in Thunder's belly. They are okay, aren't they? They're fine, Clear Sky told him, but they're small. They're staying near Starflower's belly until they're older. Pebbleheart said we have to keep them away from other cats for a moon. It's hard to believe they're so helpless. His gaze glistened with warmth as he went on. I'm never going to let anything bad happen to them. A pang of grief took Thunder by surprise. Why hadn't Clear Sky been this concerned when he was born? His father had left his own mother to Kit alone, beside a two-leg camp. She died when the nest she'd made for them had been crushed. He'd only been saved because Greywing had come searching for them. Thunder couldn't help feeling like that his life might have been very different if Clear Sky had rescued Storm before she'd kitted. Just as he'd rescued Starflower. He shook out his fur. What was the point in wondering? He wasn't going to feel sorry for himself. Everything that had happened to him had made him the cat he was now. His cats were loyal, and he had friends in every group. He was as much a leader as Clear Sky. He changed the subject. Blossom said you were sending out patrols day and night. Are you worried about Slash? Clear Sky's tail twitched. I won't make the same mistake twice, he grunted. Slash and his rogues aren't going to get anywhere near my kits. Good. Thunder wondered if patrols were enough to keep Slash from stirring up trouble. But at least Clear Sky wasn't talking about revenge. He felt sure that, in the past moons, his father would have already been planning an attack. Then he stiffened. Perhaps Clear Sky was thinking about going after Slash. He eyed Clear Sky uncertainly. You're not thinking about causing any trouble with the rogues, are you? A loud squeal sounded from the shadows, and Clear Sky glanced towards his den. Why poke a hornet's nest? Slush deserves to suffer for what he's done, but I'm not risking the safety of Starflower and my kits. They're more important now. You're right. Thunder understood. After all, he'd refused to help Clear Sky at first, to keep his own group safe. Protecting the cats we care about is more important than starting battles. Another squeal sounded from the den. I better go back to them. Clear Sky's gaze shifted, and he began to back away. Starflower is still very tired, and I don't like to leave her alone too long. I'll come back and see the kids when they're bigger, Thunder called. But his father was already disappearing into the den. You do that. Clear Sky's mew sounded distant. Thunder turned away, relieved when, this time, no grief jabbed his belly. Clear Sky seemed truly content for the first time in his life. His father had found happiness, and Thunder was happy for him, and for the kits who will know nothing but love. Purring softly to himself, he leaped down the bank and crossed the clearing. Did he let you see them? Acorn Fur called to him as he headed for the entrance. Not this time, he answered, ducking out of camp. But I'll be back. Birch and Blossom were sniffing through a patch of frost-scorched nettles as he headed along the trail towards the rise. Sorry, I smell something. Smells like something's burning. Wait, 1 second! Good news! Nothing's burning. But I don't know what the smell was. Weird. Birch and Blossom were sniffing through a patch of frost-scorched nettles as he headed along the trail toward the rise. See you soon, he called to them. Birch looked up, clearly distracted. Yeah, sure. As he headed for the ravine, Thunder tasted the air. Clear Sky might be sure he could guard his camp, but Blossom and Birch had seemed edgy. Perhaps they were right to be wary. Slash didn't seem the sort of cat to give up easily. Unease warmed beneath Thunder's pelt. Slash would stir up more trouble, he was sure of that. He just wondered when it would begin. Warmed by his run through the forest, Thunder paused at the top of the ravine. A cold wind ruffled his fur as he peered over the edge. Familiar scents rose from the sheltered hollow, and he leaped down onto the first ledge, glad to be home. Hi, RV. Hopping lightly from one jutting rock to the next, he heard angry mews from beyond the gorse barrier. He tensed as he pricked his ears. His campmates rarely argued. Had an unwelcome visitor barged into camp? He smelled no strange scents as he reached the bottom of the cliff and hurried for the gorse tunnel. How could we fight them off? Cloudspout sounded indignant. We were outnumbered. It would have been better than creeping away like mice, Leaf snapped. They caught us unprepared, that's all, Lightning Tail reasoned. Alarm fizzed through Thunder's pelt. He ducked through the tunnel and hurried into camp. What's happened? Leaf, Cloudspots, and Lightning Tail turned to face him. Their fur was fluffed out, clumps sticking out here and there as though they'd been fighting. Clover dashed across the camp to meet Thunder. They were robbed! Thistle scampered between Lightning Tail and Cloudspots. The rogue attacked them while they were hunting, he told Thunder. Lightning Tail shooed the kid away with his tail. 5 rogues jumped us beside the big sycamore tree, he told Thunder. We were gathering up our cats, ready to come home. We'd caught 3 mice and a thrush. We fought the best we could, but we were outnumbered. It seemed best to back off and let them take the prey. No one's really hurt. Only our pride is wounded. Thunder's ears twitched uneasily. Pride heals faster than scratches. Milkweed paced beside the tree stump. Does this mean the woods aren't safe anymore? She glanced at Thistle and Clover. Pink Eye sat at the edge of the clearing, his tail flicking. There have always been rogues, and there always will be. Not like these rogues. Cloudspots muttered darkly. They came looking for us, and they took our cats just to prove they could. Leaf nodded. They didn't want it because they needed it. They just wanted us to go hungry. Owl Eyes pawed at the earth beside Pink Eyes. I wish I'd been there. I'd have clawed their ears off. Thunder padded to the middle of the clearing and gazed around at his campmates. You were right to let them take the prey, he told them. Never fight a battle when your enemy is the only one prepared. Were these definitely Slash's rogues? Did they say anything, Lightning Tail? Lightning Tail met his gaze gravely. One of them told us if we won't give them our prey, they'd have to take it. Maybe next time they'd take our pelts as well, Leaf growled. Milkweed's fur rippled along her spine. Owl Eyes hurried to her side. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on Thistle and Clover. I can look after Clover. Thistle puffed out his chest. Clover flicked her fluffy tail indignantly. I don't need any cat looking after me. Thunder hardly heard them. His thoughts were whirling. He shifted his paws. This is only the beginning, he warned his campmates. Slash said he would take our prey, and he clearly means to. Lightning Tail frowned. Perhaps we can outwit them, as we did with Starflower? We can't just let them rob us, Cloudspots growled in agreement. Leaf flexed his claws. We need to do something about it. Thunder saw expectation in his cloudmate's eyes. What could he say? He didn't know how many rogues Slash had or where their camp was. He had no idea how to outwit the rogues. Lightning Tail blinked at him suddenly. I've got an idea. Thunder lifted his tail. Share it with us. Lightning Tail padded to the tree stump and leaped on top. We need to train, he announced. Those cats wouldn't have stolen our prey so easily if we'd known what to do. We must practice fighting moves. We must learn new skills so that we're always prepared. They're strong and we're smart. We're strong and we're smart. If we practice, we can win even when we're outnumbered. Slash's rogues are just kitty pets nobody wants. If we train hard and grow strong and learn fighting moves they've never seen, we will always be ready to defend what's ours. Leaf lifted his chin, his eyes shining. That's a great idea. We can start training at once. I already know a few moves I can share, Cloudspots offered. Can we train? Thistle gazed eagerly at Lightning Tail. We must all train, Lightning Tail told the kit. Thunder gazed at his friend, his chest swelling with pride. It seemed that with the passing moons, his friend had become wise. It seemed recently he's gotten smarter.
Hi, little mans. Hi, how's it going? It's going good. We're reading Warrior Cats today.
So I can't chat too much.
I hope you're doing well, though.
Lightning Tail should be the next leader. He's the deputy for sure. Thunder's shoulder loosened as relief washed his pelt. Suddenly, the weight of... Your icon is a bald person. Suddenly, the weight of leadership seemed to ease. The group would be safe even if he was gone. But Thunder intended to live a good while yet. Shaking out his fur, he padded towards the tree stump. Thanks, Lightning Tail. He looked up at his friend. I'm putting you in charge of training. He glanced around at the others. Their eyes were shining with excitement. Milkweed lifted her chin defiantly. They were no longer afraid or angry, Thunder mused. They were ready to fight.
Chapter 8.
I hope we're not the only group the rogues are stealing from. Windrunner's angry mew rang through the cold night air. A full moon bathed the moor with light. Gorsefur padded beside her. Why would they target us? Thunder hinted that was why he called tonight's meeting, Greywing reminded them as they headed towards the Four Trees Hollow. Thunder had visited the moor camp the day before, asking Windrunner to bring a patrol to a meeting at the Four Trees. The Orange Tom had looked troubled and thin, but he had said he didn't want to discuss what was wrong until all leaders were present. Greywing followed Windrunner and Gorsefur between the wide swaths of heather. Slate was at his side. He relished the warmth of her pelt as it brushed against his. Minnow patted at their tails. I should have stayed behind with Spotted Fur and Reed, she fretted. Mothflight and Dustmuzzle are too young to fight if the rogues attack the camp. The rogues won't attack the camp, Gorse reassured her. They're not that mouse-brained. Greywing hoped she was right. He'd suggested to Reed that he shelter with Spotted Fur and the kits in Windrunner's den for the night. The rogues did not cause any trouble. Its narrow entrance and thick walls would make it easy to defend. Windrunner glanced over his shoulder, her eyes flashing in the silver moonlight. Why can't the rogues leave us alone? Greywing could understand Windrunner's frustration. Twice in the past half-moon, rogues had come into their land. Once they'd hunted rabbits on the high moor. The second time, they'd simply swiped prey from Mothblight and Dustmuzzle, leaving the two young cats shaken. Slate glanced at him. Do you think Thunder has a plan? She whispered. I hope so. Greywing swished his tail along her spine. We can't keep losing prey like this. Rabbits had started venturing further from their burrows in search of grazing, which made them easier to catch. But Greywing knew that the more rabbits they killed now, the fewer there'd be when Leaf Bear really began to bite. He was thankful that Snipe and Gorse still roamed the moor. At least they wouldn't starve, unless the rogues kept taking their food. The oaks loomed ahead, their ancient branches reaching above the rim of the hollow. Bare now, they stretched the claws towards the star-speckled sky. Greywing tasted the air and smelled pine and river scents. Tall Shadow and River Ripple are here, he told Slate softly. What about the others? Her nostrils twitched. I'm not sure. Thunder's and Clear Sky's musky scents were masked by the damp forest smells drifting from the trees beyond. He followed Windrunner and Gorse over the rim of the hollow and squinted into the shadows below. Shapes moved between the trees. As he threaded his way down the break-in-covered slope, he heard the murmuring of voices. Gradually, more scents touched his nose. We're the last to arrive, he told Slate. Minnow growled from the back. Unless the rogues are planning to join us, we can't seem to go anywhere these days without tripping over them. Windrunner! Greywing heard Thunder greet Windrunner as she padded into the clearing. He followed her out of the break-in, blinking as icy hair bathed his face. Thunder was standing between Leaf and Milkweed in the shadow of the great rock, while Lightning Tail walked the edge of the clearing, sniffing warily at the undergrowth. Clear Sky paced in a pool of moonlight beside Blossom and Nettle. River Ripple was sitting in the... Sorry, I just realized something. Hold on. Randomly started thinking about work and my schedule. Okay. Don't work tomorrow. Oh, wait. Where was I? Thunder was standing between Leaf and Milkweed in the shadow of the great rock, while Lightning Tail walked the edge of the clearing, sniffing warily at the undergrowth. Clear Sky paced in a pool of moonlight beside Blossom and Nettle. River Ripple was sitting in the middle of the clearing, Shattered Ice beside him. Clear Sky dipped his head in greeting, noticing how calm the river cat seemed, so still beside the restless pacing of the others. Tall Shadow, Jagged Peak, and Mouse Ear stayed near the edge of the clearing, weaving around one another, their ears pricked, their gazes darting to any small stirring of the break-in on the slopes. Tall Shadow lifted her tail as Windrunner approached. Thunder moved from the shadows of the great rock to join them as they stopped beside River Ripple. Thunder glanced around at the camp. Our prey's being stolen by rogues. Ours too! Windrunner's eyes shone angrily in the dark. They've taken half our prey since Starflower was rescued. Tall Shadow sounded weary. Clear Sky blinked at her sympathetically. In the past few days, they've attacked 2 of our hunting parties. We're all suffering. River Ripple's tail swished over the ground. They haven't stolen our prey yet. Perhaps they don't like fish. Or getting their paws wet, Shattered Ice added, a glint in his eyes. Windrunner turned on the gray and white Tom. This is no joking matter. Cats are going hungry, and Leaf Bear's only just beginning. Shattered Ice tipped his head respectfully. You're right. I'm sorry. River Ripple met Windrunner's angry stare. There are plenty of fish in the river. We are happy to share what we have. Fish? Lightning Tail snorted. Who wants to eat fish? Hungry cats must eat what they can, River Ripple answered. Thunder swished his tail. River Ripple's offer is kind, but his fish can't feed all of us. And what if the river freezes over? Windrunner added. Then there'll be no fish at all. Thunder stepped forward. This is everyone's problem. We need to find a solution. Clear Sky's gaze flicked around the other cats. This trouble started when the rogues kidnapped Starflower, he meowed. Yes, we know that, dude. And I'm sorry I got you involved, but I had no choice. You did the right thing in rescuing her. She's safe, and my kits are growing stronger with each day. You know as well as I do that none of you would have slept soundly in your nests if you let them die. Why is that related? Baseball? Beastball? Oh! There's a baseball team named Warriors, right? The Warriors. Hilarious. Wizardfly, do you like dad jokes? Graywing caught his brother's eye. For once, Clear Sky had judged them perfectly. Not one of the cats who stood bathed in the moonlight could have found peace knowing that Starflower and her kits had come to harm because of their inaction. Pride surged beneath his pelt, and he padded closer to his brother. Starflower was just Slash's excuse to start stealing from us. He glanced around the leaders. He's determined to hate us, and he must find a reason to justify his hate. It is deep in his bones, just as it was with One Eye. Thunder growled. Some cats need an enemy to make them feel strong. River Ripple nodded. Their bellies do not feel full unless they are eating another cat's food. Windrunner's pelt prickled impatiently along her spine. What are we going to do about it? Tall Shadow's ears twitched. We've been sending out larger hunting patrols, but we're always outnumbered. How many rogues does Slash have? Leaf flashed his tail, looking towards Graywing. Has Fern given you any idea? I haven't seen her since we rescued Starflower, Graywing told him, but I've seen their camp and smelled the scents. They seem to have a large group, but I'm not sure how big. Windrunner flexed her claws. We need to find out. Fear spiked Graywing's belly as he imagined sneaking back into the marsh. It would be risky. And even if he found Fern again, he'd be putting her in danger just by talking to her. Thunder blinked at him. I'll come with you. We can take a patrol. He felt Slate's pelt prickling against his and scented her fear. I'm coming too. Graywing shook his head. I'm going alone. Sending a patrol might cause a battle. Windrunner grunted. Perhaps we should have a battle at the end of this once and for all.
Thank you for the follow, Kevin.
No. Clear Sky paced between the cats. It would be mousebrain to fight a battle against an enemy we don't know. First, we need to know how many rogues there are. Graywing nodded. Clear Sky was right. I'll find out what I can. Meanwhile, we must prepare to defend what is ours. Thunder glanced towards Lightning Tail. We've been training to fight and practicing battle moves. I think you should all start training so that you can fight off any rogue attack. There may be many of them, but they're not very skilled. If they were, they wouldn't have to travel in such big groups. Milkweed's eyes glittered. Lightning Tail's been teaching Clover and Thistle how to defend themselves. Tall Shadow flicked up her tail tip. Stormpelt, Dunose, and Eaglefeather each have their own trainer. They've only been learning to hunt so far, but they could learn some battle moves too. She nodded to Mousefear. You formed quite a bond with Eaglefeather, haven't you? Oh! Tall Shadow's the first one to create warriors and apprentices. When does Goku show up? Technically, Goku is already shown up in another series. He'll come back, though. He's a fast learner. Mousefear glanced around at the other cats, and it's easier if I train him alone. I can learn his strengths and weaknesses and build on what he already knows. Lightning Tail blinked. That's a good idea. He glanced at Thunder. Maybe I should assign trainers to Clover and Thistle. I'd be happy to train either of them, Leaf offered. They're both bright and eager to learn.
Thank you for the follow, goddess.
Milkweed fluffed out her pelt proudly. Windrunner exchanged looks with Gorsefur. Perhaps if Mothflight had her own trainer, she'd learn faster. Certainly doesn't seem to have learned much from us. She's doing fine. Gorsefur began to defend their kit, but Jagged Peak interrupted. I got nowhere trying to train Eagle Feather, he admitted. I was either too soft on him or too hard. We ended up squabbling. Mouseier shifted his paws. It's easier for me to see Eagle Feather's progress with a clear eye. Seems more difficult to train one's own kit. Very well. Clear Sky dipped his head. Let's all begin battle training and give each kit their own trainer. Windrunner nodded. Tall Shadow dipped her head. As the river ripple blinked his approval, shadows darkened the clearing. Greywing glanced at the full moon. Clouds were beginning to drift across it. Thicker crowds lurked on the horizon. Night was coming, and it would be easier to reach Slash's camp in the dark. I'll go and find Fern now. The sooner they knew what they were facing, the faster they could prepare. For what? His ears twitched uneasily. Was there really going to be a battle? He shuddered, remembering the great battle, fought right where they were standing. So many cats had died. I keep thinking about how they had that massive death match, slaughter match, right in the 4 trees, and in the future books they all stand on top of it, not knowing the humongous grave they were standing on. Crazy. It's like real life. Slate moved closer and lowered her voice. Are you sure you don't want me to come with you? I'm sure. He wasn't going to put her in danger. She gazed at him, worry darkening her eyes. Be careful, she breathed. I'll be okay, he promised, hoping it was true. He knew it was like to wait for a loved one who never returned, and he wouldn't wish it on Slate for anything. Stiffening, he determined that he was going to be back by her side by dawn. I promise. He nodded to the others, then turned and headed for the slope. Breaking into a run, he plunged into the bracken and headed towards the pine forest. As he neared the edge of the pines, he tasted the air. He smelled the dank odor of decaying mushrooms and followed the scent, moving silently through the shadows until he found a patch of wilted ink caps at the foot of a tree. Wrinkling his nose, he lay down on the mushrooms, shuddering as he felt their rotting flesh collapse beneath his weight and squish into his fur. He stood up and shook out his pelt. The rankness of their scent would disguise his. Greywing headed for the edge of the pines, ducking as he emerged from their shelter. The moon and stars were covered by cloud. Fern would be curled up in her nest, fast asleep. Would he have to wait, like last time, to catch her on patrol? As the grass beneath his paws turned to mossy peat, he slowed. He could just make out the marsh grass rising ahead. The wall of the rogue's camp was half hidden by the dip. He veered away, heading for the willow copse, and climbed the slope, then crouched between the hazel thickets once again. Blinking in the darkness, he pricked his ears and listened. He stiffened as the owl's hoot echoed across the stretch of marshland. Wings fluttered far above his head, and the owl swooped, dipping over the boggy land, silent as it glided across the grass. Greywing watched it as it pulled up. It seemed to stall, turning its wings to slow itself, and stretching out its claws. The shriek of prey cut through the air as the owl grabbed something and lifted it into the sky, tracing a long, slow circle against the dark night as it headed back into the trees. Greywing strained his neck, following the owl with his gaze, his belly rumbling as he glimpsed a small shape wriggling in its claws. As the owl disappeared among the branches overhead, the grass below Greywing rustled. Greywing snapped his head around, pelt bristling. A shape was moving up the slope towards him. He drew back into the hazel thicket, pressing his belly to the ground, and unsheathed his claws. Greywing! His heart seemed to burst with relief as he recognized Fern's mew. 2 green eyes flashed at him through the darkness. He began to slide out of his hiding place, hesitant suddenly. Was this a trap? He glanced beyond Fern, scanning the slope for other shapes. Then he tasted the air, frustrated as the stench of rotting ink caps bathed his tongue. Fern snorted.
You smell foul.
She hissed as she stopped a tail length from the hazel thicket.
It was the stink that woke me up. I guess it was you. We don't get many walking mushrooms around here.
Are you alone? Greywing breathed, hoping he could still trust her.
Of course I'm alone. Her mew was indignant. You think I risked my pelt just to betray you now?
Her eyes flashed with anger. Greywing slid out of the thicket and stopped in front of her. I'm sorry, he breathed. It's just that I don't like coming here.
You should try living here, she grunted.
Why don't you leave if you hate it? Greywing stared in wonder at the young she-cat.
I would if I thought there was anything safe or anywhere safe from Slash. Thank you for the follow, Fabina. Fabian.
She glanced over her shoulder, then slunk past Greywing and headed deeper into the copse. She led him into a clearing beyond the hazel thickets.
The further away we are from the camp, the better, she whispered. If your stink woke me up, it might wake up someone else.
I was trying to disguise my scent. Greywing's pelt felt hot with embarrassment.
It worked,
Fern snorted.
You smell worse than a badger.
At least I found you, Greywing pointed out. I thought I was going to have to wait.
Smelling like death is a great signal, Fern muttered. But you might want to tone it down a bit next time.
She blinked at him through the darkness. Why are you here? I need information, he told her.
What about?
Fern tipped her head to one side.
You rescued Starflower, didn't you?
She leaned closer. Is she okay? Yes.
Has she had her kits yet?
Greywing's tail bristled as he remembered the traumatic escape. Yes, 2 she-kits and a tom. Fern purred. I'm glad.
I wish I could tell Juniper and Willow. We've been worried about her.
Greywing frowned, confused. Who are Juniper and Willow?
His campmates.
Fern shrugged. Why do they care about Starflower and her kits? They'd help hold her captive, hadn't they? Fern lifted her chin indignantly. We're not all fox hearts, you know. Greywing shifted his paws, even more confused. Then why do you stay with Slash? Fern narrowed her eyes. Why do you give him your prey?
He steals it. Why not fight for it?
Fern pressed. Greywing hesitated. He didn't want to admit that Slash's rogues outnumbered them. Slash knows how to make other cats do what he wants. Oh,
Slash knows how to make other cats do what he wants, Fern growled. If you go against Slash, you take a big risk. It's easier to go along with whatever he says.
But you could leave.
I tried that, remember?
Fern glared at him.
I couldn't sleep at night. Every time I heard a rustle in the brambles, I thought it was Slash coming to get me. He doesn't like disloyalty.
Greywing stared at her, his heart twisting as he realized what a huge risk she was taking just by talking to him. She went on.
He also doesn't like it when his plans are ruined. He's been all wound up since you rescued Starflower. He keeps going on about making you all pay.
We guessed. Greywing growled darkly. He's been stealing our prey again.
I know.
Fern dropped her gaze. I've never eaten so well. We're going hungry. Fern stared at him, her eyes widened with worry. He won't stop, you know, not until he's driven you out. No one's driving us out, Greywing growled. Are you gonna fight him? If we have to. Greywing held her gaze, but we need to know how many cats we faced. Fern glanced away. I understand if you don't want to help us. Greywing guessed that she was scared of telling him anything that would make her catmates vulnerable. But if we just had some idea of how many we were fighting... Fern turned back, her gaze intent.
If you stood up to Slash, some of us might stand up to him too.
Really? Greywing's pelt prickled with hope. Do you think your campmates would actually help fight him? Fern drew away.
It's hard to say. He's had some loyal friends, but a lot of us think it was cruel to hold Starflower in her condition. He risked the lives of unborn kits. A cat who'd do that is capable of anything. We're scared to stay, but even more scared to leave. Who knows what he'd do if he ever found us again?
Will you fight with us? Greywing pressed.
Fern looked away. I can't promise anything. Slash is powerful, and he's hungry for revenge. Standing up to him means risking our lives. None of us want to die.
Greywing's heart sank, especially from cats you've never met. Especially 4 cats you've never met. Fern glanced up at him.
I wish I could promise to help you, but I can't even do that. I just wanted you to know that Slash may not be as powerful as he thinks. As he thinks. We're reading Warrior Cats.
I understand. Raywing wished he could persuade this young cat to leave with him. He felt sure he could keep her safe. It wasn't enough for him to believe it. She needed to believe it too. Fern was gazing at him with frightened eyes. If your groups fight together, you'll outnumber us, she confessed. But Slash is determined and cruel, and he will make us pay for cowardice and disloyalty with our own blood. If there's a battle, it will be a hard one. Slash will fight to the death, and he'll expect us to do the same. What if we just waited? Greywing suggested hopefully. Do you think he might move on? Fern snorted. Slash enjoys his anger. He'll hold on to it for as long as it makes him feel powerful, and he gets your prey. She lowered her voice to a whisper. I think he wants a battle. And if stealing your prey doesn't make you fight him, he'll find another way to start it. She shrugged apologetically. Either way, you're gonna lose. Not if some of your catmates join us. I can't promise that. If it looks like a battle you can't win, none of us would dare join you. The owl hooted again. Fern's tail quivered. I should get back. If anyone notices I'm missing, they'll want to know where I've been. Raywin gazed at her. Come with me. She shook her head. I have kin here who will suffer if I leave. Raywin blinked. Why would your kin suffer? He'll blame me. He'll blame my sister for my disloyalty. Fern turned to leave. Be careful, Greywing. Slash is determined to make you pay. What for? Helplessness swamped Greywing. Fern stared at him blankly. For being happy, I guess. Oh no, Sebastian, that's so sad. What's your favorite color? Pink. Storytelling streams are fun. Thank you for the follow, Hippie! He watched her disappear between the trees. Is that how our groups seem to Slash? Happy? He thought of the hollow on the moor and his nest. Slate would be there, staring into the darkness as she waited for his return. A purr rumbled softly in his throat. He couldn't imagine any cat waiting hopefully for Slash. His catmates lived in fear of him. He stole to feel powerful. No cat who lived like that could be happy. Greywing wove between the willows, quickening his pace as he slipped from the copse and began to cross the marshland. Breaking into a run, he raced for the pines, relieved to slip into their shadow. He skirted Tall Shadow's camp and headed for the moor, his chest tightening with every step, but he had to get home. Slate would be worried. Ignoring his wheezing, he pushed on. Anger surged beneath his pelt. Why couldn't he breathe? You've been here before! Congrats! Well, I'm glad you returned. No need to apologize. Hi, Bim! I lost my spot. I lost my spot in this. Oh, here he is. Thanks, Hippie. It must be the cold night air, he reasoned. With a sudden pang, he longed for the days when he could race from the forest to the moor and back again with ease. By the time he reached the hollow, he was struggling for every breath. He slowed as he crossed the grass outside the entrance. He wanted to catch his breath before he padded into camp. He glanced at the forest behind him. The treetops were turning pink beneath the rising sun. Greywing! Slate's call took him by surprise.
This stream has disgusting lack of gambling encouragement. How am I supposed to enjoy this?
Gamble! 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 Gamble!
Know your money, play within it. Oh wait, that's not it. Know your limit, play within it.
Is that the Nono's Carnival herself? It is! Hi, Harp! Harp, Harp! It's me, the Nono! Guys, Harp is gonna be... Are you the leader of the... What do you call yourself? The leader of the event on Saturday?
There's probably a better word for it. The one in charge. The boss man? Some trail mix and a cold one. Nice. Oh yeah, that's a thing. It is a thing! Guys, Harp is the one hosting the event on Saturday. The one where we're gonna be Celts. And we're gonna burn a wicker man. You seem chill. How's your day? My day's good. I played Heartopia for quite a while. I have fallen in love with it. I think everyone should play it. If we have 12 people who play it, we can make a whole village and we can all hang out together. That would be so mad. So mad? So cute? So rad? I don't know what I was trying to say. Oh, an event you say. Yeah! Wicker man. Just popped in real quick, saw you were live. Hope you have an awesome day. Thank you! I'm really excited for this weekend. I hope you have a wonderful day too. I hope you're excited. I hope that our wicker man can be built and set ablaze. Ooh, the recording studio. What's that? Were you recording song? Or were you the one behind the panel? When you record something at a recording studio, do you have to have someone with you? Because there's like always someone like who's on the computer part of it, right? It will be a glorious blaze. Not always. Nice. But generally. I gotta learn how to sing. Oh, you do both? That's so cool! Do you have any songs you want to advertise that I can listen to? And chat can listen to? Also, Nona, I did as you foretold and uploaded the early build of that video to your Discord. Yes! Beautiful. Oh, sure, if you want. I want. Me. Let's go look at what Bim uploaded. Nona told me to. Sorry if it doesn't belong here. It belongs here. Oh! Oh my god, it has cool art. I love music. Slow It Down by Hippie So Lit, featuring Eden VTuber. I feel like I knew Eden VTuber. Are you the one singing, or are you the... Is that Thanos? No, that's not Thanos. Wow! Pero slow it down. Oh, look it up. Nice! Slow it down, hippie. Oh. Slow it down, hippie. So lit. Eat. Eden. I found it! Is that you?
Yo, hippie, I've been trying to hit you. You good? Call me back. Eden.
Yeah, it could be so lit. I'm not a good person, but I'm genuine at least. If I view you like your family, you'll always get the best of me. Yeah. Baby, I ain't nothing like them people that you used to.
Nice! Did you write the lyric? You must do everything.
Proud of every time you hug me, you smell the cologne and gunpowder. Slow it down, can we pause for a minute? Can we talk for a minute? Can we stop for a minute? Slow it down, can we pause for a minute? Can we stop for a minute? I'm trying to cherish every second. Baby met me when I was selling drugs in the complex. Locked a letter with the homies whenever we shaking hands. Cuffs on my wrist when they haul me away. Only thing that
This is good.
pain on your face. Broken homes,
Like
fell victim to the streets. They just scale calibrated. My baggies ain't never
parental
sold me.
advisory explicit content.
Buckshot, 20 guys with a faux grip on the palm. Brother left the box some woods and never made it back. By the time he reached the store, he died.
Oh my gosh, this came out like
Ever since that day, if you hit the store, I'm wrong.
like 6 days ago.
I'm not a good person, but I'm genuine at least. If I view you like my family, you'll always get the best of me. I don't chase cloud, I can spend it like cash. If I ever said I love you, you entitled to my very last. Baby, I ain't nothing like them people that you used to. Pistol glued to me, if you with me, you were talking to.
Thank you for the follow, Lizzie Eyes.
I ain't proud of. Every time you hug me, you smell the cologne and gunpowder. Slow it down, can we pause for a minute? Can we talk for a minute? Can we stop for a minute? Slow it down, can we pause for a minute? Can we stop for a minute? I'm trying to cherish every second. Tats on my body, I done earned in the field. Got a dimple on my leg from when they try to get me killed.
This has got a good beat where you can really like sway to it. Will I get copyright stricken for this? If you don't copy strike me, please.
If you my brother or my sister, I ain't finna let you crash out. Anybody ever cross you, getting crossed out. My heart might be the death of me, got my arms in a centipede. We don't do the jumpies, but when we do it's a stampede. Stolen car, we gon' bounce out and walk.
I won't, I promise. Yay! Streets to streamer, nice.
I'm a rapper and a screamer now, but a demon before that. Baby, I ain't nothing like them people that you used to. Pistol glued to me, if you with me, you were talking to.
Do you have an album? The Streets to Streamer must be the album, right?
Can we pause for a minute? Can we talk for a minute? Can we stop for a minute? Slow it down. Can we pause?
I like the chorus.
Can we stop for a minute? I'm trying to cherish every second.
Oh, dang. So this song is like your life. So now you're a VTuber enjoyer. That is a good, I think that's the best thing you can do. Oh. Yay! That was so good, Hippie! I enjoyed that a lot. I'll add it to my playlist. And then I'll be like, that guy was in my chat actually. Life going into streaming? Oh, cool! I'll have to listen to it all. And Bims too! Bims has like a whole video to it. People who can do metal singing is kind of crazy. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Hi, Simon Scott! I didn't know you were playing it. Oh, I'm listening to it. I guess it's because it's Discord and the YouTube version will go through my audio, but because the Discord isn't part of my audio, it didn't go through it. Oh, I'm listening to it now, though. Although I will... Okay, wait. Were we in the middle of a chapter? I got distracted. We're almost at the end of the chapter and I didn't even finish. I got too messed up. Hi, Simon. I mean, Simone? Simone? Harry! I do know Harry! Harry's my... Well, we're not, like, close. We have hella mutuals! Heck yeah! Do you know Lumbriel, then? Are you on that side of the hangout? The Lumbriel Harry group? She's on your song! Yow! The Slow It Down song? No, that was Eden. Hi, Wendy! Please enjoy your little gummies. I hope they taste good. The song's stuck in my head now. Maybe I'll do a cover. I can't rap though. Okay, wait, let me finish this chapter really quick. Okay. We were almost done. Bounce out and on change you. Nice. I'll remember that. Greywing. Slate's call took him by surprise. She darted from the camp and wove around him, purring loudly. I was so worried.
I told you I'd be okay. You need to rest. Slate began to guide him into camp. I have to talk to Windrunner first. He struggled to speak. Did you find Fern? Yes. He headed for Windrunner's den. The brown she-cat slid out as he neared, her eyes bright. What did she say? She... Greywing stopped, panting for air. Wait until you get your breath back, Windrunner ordered. Greywing sat down, feeling the moments pass as he willed his chest to loosen. Slate settled beside him, her eyes clouded with worry. Windrunner paced around them, the fur prickling around her neck. At last, Greywing found breath enough to speak. Fern says that if the groups join together, we'll outnumber them, and she says that Slash's campmates fear him. They might not fight for him if there was a battle. Windrunner's eyes lit up. Then we can beat him? Greywing shook his head. She couldn't promise that they'd betray him. They're scared of him, but with good reason. Slash is out for revenge, and he's dangerous. We need to be on guard. Slate pressed against Greywing. Is he gonna attack? She said he might, Greywing told her. We must have patrols watching the camp at all times. We need to be prepared for anything. Windrunner glanced towards the camp entrance. I'll post guards day and night. I'll take the first watch. Slate blinked at her eagerly. Windrunner shook her head. You've been up all night waiting. Her gaze moved to Greywing. You both need rest. Spotted Fur can stand guard. She flicked her tail towards Greywing's nest. Go and get some sleep. Grateful, Greywing heaved himself to his paws. Slate pressed against him as he padded to their nest. The heather felt fresh as he climbed inside. Did you line it while I was gone? He asked. I knew you'd be tired when you got home, and I wanted you to have somewhere comfortable to rest. Greywing purred as he curled up in the soft heather. Slate climbed in after him and snuggled down beside him. Exhausted, Greywing closed his eyes, relieved to feel Slate's warmth against him. For a moment, he pitied Slash. No cat that cruel could have felt love like this. Then his pity gave way to anger. Why did Slash want to make others suffer? His mind began to drift as tiredness pulled him towards sleep. Images of moor bright with heather flashed in his mind. His thoughts jumbled. The pink heather turned red with blood as Greywing slipped into troubled dreams.
Can you ask me something? Yeah, ask me.
Ask me anything. Depends on what you ask. If I answer, though.
Zane, I know
Labatomi? Why do you call him Labatomi? Fan of both of them, though. She did the album art cover for Bounce Out.
Aww. Hi, Cordy. Welcome.
Pokemon Legend Arceus. I never beat that game. I love reading streams now. Thanks, Ivy. How old am I? Oh, I'm the age of the universe. So quite old, actually. I was born when the Big Bang happened. And weren't we all, weren't we all born when the Big Bang happened? Poetry in motion. Lobotomi, but Lamatomi. Please. Yeah. We all are.
Please? Please?
Guys, I got this commission that I'm waiting for now, and it's really good. I think I'll use it all the time. What time is it? Oh, we have like an hour left. Or 50 minutes left. I'm gonna be doing something. What am I doing tomorrow? Guys, I really want to play. I really, really, really want to play that zoo game that the Raiders were playing. The My Voice Zoo. I really want to play it. I might play it tomorrow. Either we'll play that or we'll play Heartopia, because that's my brain. But honestly, I think we're gonna play My Voice Zoo. It's so dumb. I gotta play it.
Guys, the adventure RPG Minecraft event that I'm gonna be in on the last week of January is humongous. There's like huge VTubers in it. I'm like in chat with all these famous VTubers. So like, I'm excited too. I hope we get along. I'm excited. Part of my character is that I make up songs about things that are happening in the moment. They are meant to be bad because my character isn't good at songs, and also I'm not good at songs. If you're like RPing, you do bodyguard work for a few of them. Nice. Really? You're one of the people that goes into cons and are bodyguards? That's really cool. Remember when poor, was it Emery? Emery wasn't allowed to bring her bodyguard? That was sad. Dang, dude, you're like crazy. You've lived a life. You've lived a life and you're currently living one. Armed private security guard, streamer, music producer, lyricist, lyricist, rapper. Nice. I'm proud of you. Na 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 na. That song is stuck in my head actually. Checking my emails. The VTuber event would be even better if Neurosema was in it, and then I can meet Neurosema. Hi, John. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep reading. We have enough time to finish at least 2 more chapters, I'm pretty sure. Chapter 9. You can't verify? What? Why not? I think it works better on PC than it does on mobile, if you're on mobile right now. You tried both? What the heck? That's poopy. I'm sorry. I wonder if there's a error that's happening. I'll have to get someone to try and join too. Are you playing a game tomorrow? I will be! Miss Nono, will there be a worksheet about what we read afterwards? Yeah, there'll be a test. There'll be a test. You have to tell me who Greywing is. And who Slash is. That's the big question. He's that one guy. Wrong! He's a cat! He's that one cat! Dang, baby. Chapter 9. Clear Sky scuffed at the leaves that had drifted into the crook of an oak root. He sniffed their moldy scent and his heart sank. Not even a trace of fresh prey. He glanced up at Sparrow Fur, who was wriggling her way beneath the bramble. Any sign of prey over there? He called. Sparrow Fur backed out, whipping her tail free as it snagged on a thorn. She sat up and stared at Clear Sky. All I can smell are rotting leaves. Clear Sky frowned. Me too. He glanced over to where they'd hidden the scrawny rabbit they'd caught earlier. It was hardly enough to feed one cat, let alone a whole group. Sparrow Fur shook her pelt. We should have brought Blossom and Acorn Fur. I want the camp well guarded, Clear Sky reminded her. Besides, more hunters leaves more scent. They might have frightened the prey away. Sparrow Fur snorted. What prey? Clear Sky didn't answer. She was right. They had been out since dawn, and now the sun was shining high above the trees, against a cloudless sky. He wondered if Starflower had let the kids leave the den. They'd been begging to explore the camp. They were still so small, and he wanted to be there when they took their first step beyond the nest. He had almost sent Thorn hunting with Sparrowfur and stayed behind. It had been hard enough leaving Starflower and the kits the night before for the meeting at the Four Trees Hollow. He longed to be with them now. But he was the group's leader. He couldn't stay in his den and let his campmates do every patrol.
Clear Sky, look!
Sparrowfur hissed under her breath. He jerked his muzzle towards her. The tortoiseshell she-cat was staring at a patch of dry ferns at tree length away. He followed her gaze. A fat squirrel was sifting through the leaves with its forepaws. After scrambling deep, it dragged up a nut and began to inspect it. Clear Sky's heart leaped. He hopped into a hunting crouch. Leaves rustled softly as Sparrowfur tiptoed to his side. "You head to that side of the beach," he told her, jerking his muzzle to show her the way, "and I'll take the other. We mustn't let it escape." Sparrowfur nodded and began to slowly creep forward, her belly first skimming the ground. Clear Sky's pelt prickled with excitement. The warm scent of squirrel filled his nose. His belly growled with hunger as he slunk forward. Tail down and spine low, he moved as silently as a snake, placing his paws on the dampest leaves so no crunch would betray his approach. He felt for the breeze with his ear tips, relieved when he found he was upwind of his quarry. Glancing out of the corner of his eye, he saw Sparrowfur's tail as she disappeared around the side of the beach. He skirted the roots, veering wide. Whichever way the squirrel ran, they'd catch it. A twig cracked. Clear Sky tensed. Sparrowfur must have crushed it beneath the paw. The squirrel straightened, snapping its head one way, then the other. Panic flashed in its eyes, and it darted forward. As Sparrowfur pelted after it, excitement surged beneath Clear Sky's pelt. He leaped, kicking out leaves behind him. The ground blurred beneath him as he harried after the squirrel. It was racing for the base of an oak. It bobbed over the jutting roots and shot upwards. Clear Sky jumped, throwing his forepaws up. He unsheathed his claws and hooked them into the squirrel's pelt, plucking it from the bark before it could escape his reach, and dragged it to the ground. Ducking quickly, he gave it a killing bite. Its spine crunched beneath his jaws. The sweet warmth of blood bathed his tongue as the squirrel fell limp. "Thank you." He was grateful for the forest. He would have enough prey for Starflower and more to share with the others. "Great catch!" Sparrowfur was panting. She stared at the squirrel, her eyes shining. "Let's collect the rabbit and take our catch back to camp," Clear Sky decided. "Okay." Sparrowfur licked her lips, still gazing at the squirrel. "Do you want to carry it?" Clear Sky pawed it towards her. She'd been hunting all morning. She deserved a taste of blood on her tongue before they reached camp. Sparrowfur purred, hooking the squirrel between her jaws. Lifting her head, she trotted away, the squirrel's bushy tail trailing behind her.
Thank you for the sub, Hippie!
I'm so dumb I needed to do the picture click thing.
Ads begun!
Cackle. Oh my god, that emote almost looks like my other friend. Clear Sky followed. The group could share the squirrel, and Starflower could have the rabbit to herself. It was small, but it would be enough. She needed prey to stay strong. Their kits were growing fast on her milk. "I'll take care of you all." Joy warmed his pelt, taking him by surprise. He'd never felt so protective of anyone before. Then he remembered the grief that had flashed momentarily in Thunder's gaze when he'd come to see the kits. Clear Sky shifted his paws guiltily. He'd never felt this way about his firstborn son. He realized now that Thunder had once been as helpless as Tiny Branch, and he'd had no father to protect him. His mother, Storm, had cared for him alone, hunting for her own prey. A chill swept Clear Sky's pelt. How could I have been so cruel? He felt Sparrowfur's gaze on him. She'd stopped and was staring at him, the squirrel hanging from her jaws. It wasn't time to dwell on the past now. Starflower hadn't eaten since yesterday, and he wanted to organize another hunting patrol. If one squirrel had decided to come down from the trees, there might be more. He hurried after her. Sparrowfur led the way to the leaves where they had buried the rabbit. He slid past her as they reached it and began to shift through them, feeling for the soft body beneath it. He touched bare earth. Where is it? He sat back on his haunches, worry sparking in his belly. It's gone. It can't be. The squirrel thumped the earth as Sparrowfur dropped it. She plunged her paws into the leaves and scrambled beneath it. Could a fox have stolen it? Clear Sky tasted the air. He lowered his voice to a whisper. Sparrowfur, watch out. Sparrowfur stopped searching for the rabbit and shot him an alarmed look. What's wrong? Her eyes glittered with worry as she read his warning gaze. She opened her mouth to taste the air. A drawling mew rang from between the trees. Are you looking for something? Giving it a pirate voice. Slash strolled out from behind an elm, his eyes shining with amusement. Clear Sky turned, hackles up. Where is it? Slash glanced to one side and back, and a black and brown rogue padded out. The scrawny rabbit dangled from his jaws. Beetle found your pitiful cash, Slash sneered. Another rogue followed Beetle from behind the tree, his black and white pelt rippling. Slash went on. Poor Splinter was upset that you'd only caught one. He glanced at the black and white rogue. Weren't you, Splinter? Splinter flicked his tail. I thought you were supposed to be great hunters. He glanced decisively at the scrawny rabbit as a fourth rogue patted out. Snake. Clear Sky shifted his paws uneasily as he recognized the striped tabby. Snake had belonged to Clear Sky's group once, but his true loyalties had been with One Eye. He narrowed his eyes. They were outnumbered. Perhaps he should have brought a bigger patrol after all. Flash's gaze flashed to the squirrel at Sparrowfur's paws. I guess it's better than nothing, Sparrowfur hissed. We didn't catch it for you. We caught it for our campmates. Slash padded forward and circled Clear Sky and Sparrowfur slowly. You're sharing your prey with us, remember? We told you at the meeting that you'd have to catch your own, Clear Sky snarled. Really? Slash's eyes lit up with a malicious glint. I think I remember you promising that you'd give me all your prey. The mangy brown tom suddenly dropped into a cowering crouch and mimicked a desperate mew. Oh, Slash, I'll hunt for you. You can have all my prey. Just give me Starflower. Clear Sky felt his pelt burn as he remembered pleading desperately at the meeting. He didn't dare look at Sparrowfur. Instead, he glared at Slash. I got her back, he hissed, which means I don't have to give you anything. Slash straightened and stalked back to his campmates. You got what you want, and so now I get what I want. He stared at the prey at Sparrowfur's paws. Give it to me. His gaze burned to Sparrowfur's. Sparrowfur lifted her chin. Never! Clear Sky curled his claws into the ground. Blood roared in his ears. Every instinct told him to hurl himself at Slash and rip his fur off. But what about Starflower? If you're hurt, who'll protect her and your kids? Heart pounding, he forced himself to stay still. Sparrowfur looked at him in surprise. We're not going to let them take it, are we? Slash patted closer. It belongs to us. Sparrowfur placed her paw on the squirrel protectively. No, it doesn't. Slash stopped the muzzle length from Clear Sky and glared at him. Give us the squirrel and we'll leave you alone. Now, Splinter growled softly behind him. Snake purred with amusement. Poor Clear Sky, you were never much of a leader. Rage boiled in Clear Sky's belly. Every hair on his pelt itched to fight these rogues, but he couldn't take the risk. He backed away, nodding to Sparrowfur. Let them take it. Sparrowfur blinked at him in disbelief. Really? Clear Sky gazed coolly at Slash as he answered her. We're outnumbered, Sparrowfur. Fighting would be a waste of energy. Let these lazy foxhearts take our prey. We can catch more while they're growing fat and soft. Slash flattened his ears. Satisfaction watched over Clear Sky's pelt. He'd angered the rogue. Here. He pawed the squirrel towards Slash. This should fill your bellies until you learn how to catch your own. Slash's eyes blazed. Showing his teeth, he lashed out with a paw. Clear Sky saw the blow coming and began to duck, but Sparrowfur was faster. Diving like a hawk, she caught Slash's paw on her shoulder. She heaved it away, unbalancing Slash, then spun and raked her claws across the rogue's scarred muzzle. Dang. Slash yowled with rage, and Snake darted forward and slashed at Sparrowfur's tail. As she twisted to face the yellow-eyed Tom, Slash reared and slammed his paws into her spine. Hooking his claws into her pelt, he dragged her onto the side. Snake hissed, "Kill her!" Beetle and Splinter split apart, their eyes widening with excitement as Slash leaped onto Sparrowfur and began lashing at her with his forepaws. "Get off!" Clear Sky tensed, ready to drag the rogue from his campmate, but he hesitated. If he joined in, then the others would too. Okay, this is... Side note. This is so funny because it's Sparrowfur again. In a previous book, the same thing happened where Sparrowfur was fighting One Eye, and he didn't call them off in time, and she almost died. And now he's hesitating again while she's gonna die. Poor Sparrowfur. Girl, she didn't even hesitate. She was like, "I'm protecting you, boy." Oh my god. If he joined in, then the others would too, and he wanted to avoid a fight. He grabbed the squirrel and tossed it at Snake. "Just take this and go." Slash paused. Sparrowfur squirmed beneath him. Lashing out clumsily, he leapt clear and landed beside Splinter. A squirrel lay at Beetle's paws. Slash looked at it. Then at Sparrowfur. The she-cat scrambled to her paws, hackles high. She glowered at Slash, a low growl rolling in her throat. Clear Sky stepped in front of her and guided her away. "It's not worth the fight," he murmured. She frowned, anger clear in her gaze. "But they've taken everything we've caught," she whispered. Clear Sky stared in dismay as Splinter picked up the squirrel between his jaws. Beetle scooped up the scrawny rabbit. "Thanks, Clear Sky." Slash curled his lip. "Next time, be a little more polite, or you might get hurt." He turned and stalked away. Snake followed, Beetle and Splinter falling in behind. Clear Sky could feel himself shaking with rage as he watched them walk away with his catch. "You might have won this time," he spat at Slash, "but one day you will feel my claws on your throat." He froze as Slash turned and stared at him coldly. For a moment, the sounds of the forest disappeared. He could only hear his own heartbeat pounding, and a voice in the back of his mind. "Think of Starflower and your kits. They need you." Slash snatched the scrawny rabbit from Beetle and carried it back to Clear Sky. With a snort, he flung it at Clear Sky's paws. "Give this to Starflower," he growled his growl was thick with derision? Derision? "Tell her it's a gift from me." Rage throbbed in Clear Sky's belly. He dug his claws deep into the ground. As Slash turned and stalked away, "One day you will pay for this." As the rogues disappeared between the trees, Sparrowfur glanced at the pitiful rabbit. "I guess we ought to take it. Won't feed many mouths, but it's better than nothing." Clear Sky hardly heard her. But he turned at the fresh scent of blood. As the fresh scent of blood reached his nose, the fur on her cheek was dark and wet. "You're hurt," he meowed, shaking himself from his thoughts. "Let's head back to camp so you can clean your wounds properly." Gratitude stirred in his chest. "Thanks for defending me," he added. It wasn't the first time the feisty young she-cat had leapt to save him. She'd fought for him when One Eye had tried to drive him from the group, too. Sparrowfur shrugged and poked the rabbit with her paw. "It's not much to show for a morning's hunting." "I'll send out another patrol this afternoon," Clear Sky told her. "And what if Slash steals them from them, too?" Worry clouded the she-cat's gaze. "I'll deal with that when it happens." He scooped up the rabbit, swallowing back the resentment that rose in his throat. How dare Slash give him his own catch as though it were a gift? He wanted to toss it away and catch fresh meat. But with so little prey running in the forest, he had no choice. Starflower needed every morsel she could get. Growling softly to himself, he headed towards camp. "Hi, Simone." "Yeah, stand up for yourself, homie." Starflower refused to touch the rabbit until the afternoon patrol returned. As the sun sank
sank slowly behind the trees, Clear Sky paced outside the den, listening for the sound of the hunting party. He should be back soon. He sent out a big patrol. Blossom, Birch, Nettle, Quickwater, and Thorn. He wanted to make sure that if the rogues attacked again, they wouldn't be able to steal whatever the patrol had caught. Clear Sky stopped pacing. He poked his head into the den once more. Please, take just a mouthful. He pushed the rabbit closer to Starflower. She shook her head. I can't eat while the others go hungry. Tiny Branch clambered on top of his mother's flank. We're not hungry. Dew Petal and Flowerfoot were wrestling beside her belly. Dew Petal struggled free of her sister's paws and grabbed her tail. I win, she squeaked. Starflower purred. See? She blinked at Clear Sky. They're getting plenty of milk, and they're as strong as badgers. Clear Sky frowned. He could see bones showing sharply through Starflower's pelt. But what about you? I've been through worse, she assured him. Clear Sky glanced at the scrawny rabbit lying untouched at her side. Was it cruel to leave it where Starflower could smell its fresh kill scent? He'd been trying to tempt her, but if she refused to be tempted, perhaps he should move it away so she didn't have to look at it. As worry warned in his belly, the bramble entrance rattled. Paw steps thrummed into camp. They're back! Hope flashed beneath his pelt. He turned eagerly from the den, pushing through the break-in and leaping down from the steep slope. Blossom was standing in the middle of the clearing, 2 mice at her paws. Clear Sky looked past her hopefully at Birch, Nettle, Quickwater, and Thorn. Were they carrying any prey? A vole hung from Nettle's mouth. Was that it? Clear Sky tried not to look disappointed. At least they'd caught something. Perhaps they'd caught more had they been ambushed by Slash. Did you see the rogues? Blossom shook her head. No sign of them. Nettle padded forward. I know it's not a big catch, he apologized, but we did our best. Of course you did. Frustration rippled through Clear Sky's pelt. Where had all the prey gone? Quickwater shook out her pelt. It's Leaf Bear, she reminded him. Don't you remember the cold seasons in the mountain? There was a time when the tribe didn't eat for 5 days. Clear Sky twitched his tail crossly. That's why we came to the forest. So we'd have prey no matter what season it was. Thorn padded across the clearing and settled in his favorite spot between the roots of a beech. Sometimes prey doesn't make it through the first snows, he meowed matter-of-factly. We'll survive, Nettle chipped on. River Ripple will share his fish, or we could scavenge in Two-Leg Place. Don't forget, most of us lived as loners. We know what it's like to suffer through difficult times. Clear Sky gazed around his cats. But living as a group, surely life should be easier. Quickwater blinked at him sympathetically. Hunger is easier to bear when you're surrounded by campmates. Why do you think the tribe survived so long despite the hardships of the mountain? Thorn sat down and began to wash. We have warm nests, he meowed between laps. And the hope that tomorrow's hunting will be better. Unless the rogues decide to take it, Clear Sky thought darkly. Blossom glanced towards the break-in that shielded Clear Sky's den. Did Starflower eat the rabbit? She won't eat until she knows the rest of you had food, Clear Sky told her. And give her this. Blossom tossed him one of the mice. We could share the rabbit and the rest of the catch. Tell her we have plenty. We'll make sure she doesn't go hungry. Clear Sky blinked at her gratefully. He knew that one scrawny rabbit, a mouse, and a vole wouldn't fill every belly, but if Starflower was well fed, the kits would have milk. Thank you. Quickwater purred. It's good to have kits in the camp again. They bring hope. Clear Sky dipped his head, grateful for his campmate's optimism. He picked up the mouse. It swung from his jaws as he leaped up the slope and headed for his den. Blossom says you should eat this. He dropped the mouse beside Starflower. She blinked at him through the shadows of the den. Did they catch much? Enough for everyone to eat something, even if it just was a mouthful each. Starflower narrowed her eyes suspiciously. She knew he wasn't exaggerating. I think they would appreciate the rabbit, he told her quietly, avoiding her eye. Starflower nosed it towards him. Then they should have it. Make sure Birch and Alder get a bite. I know rabbit is their favorite. He purred, pressing his cheek to hers, then picked up the rabbit. Anger prickled in his belly as Slash's words rang in his mind. Give this to Starflower. How would he stop the rogues from stealing their prey? He lifted his chin. Tomorrow they would start training to fight, as Thunder had suggested. But would that be enough?
He hurried to the clearing and dropped the rabbit beside the meager prey pile and headed back to his den. "Aren't you eating anything?" Birch called after him. He shook his head. "I'll eat tomorrow," he replied without looking back. His belly felt tight with hunger, and as he reached his den, he smelt fresh mouse blood. Starflower had eaten it already. She must have been starving. Tomorrow he would hunt again. He slid into the nest and settled beside Starflower. She was lying drowsily in her nest while the kits clambered over her.
Clear Sky,
Tiny Branch leaped onto his flank.
can we leave the den tomorrow?
"Yes." Clear Sky stretched his muzzle forward and nudged the kit's cheek. Tiny Branch's tail quivered excitedly.
Do you hear that?
He squeaked, leaping into Dew Petal and Flowerfoot.
We can go outside tomorrow. Finally.
Dew Petal cheered. She tumbled onto the mossy depths of the nest, tugging Flowerfoot and Tiny Branch with her. Happiness filled Clear Sky's empty belly as they wrestled beside him. And yet he couldn't relax. The idea of his kits training to go out into the world made him uneasy. Because as long as Slash and his rogues roamed the forest, none of his cats were safe.
At least they're optimistic. You predicted that.
They should just go send, I don't know why they don't send, one cat to go hunt for a single fish. Even if it tastes bad to them, it's still food, right? And it's not like they have 4 pieces of prey to feed the whole clan.
So going to, get some fish wouldn't be too bad. We gotta rid Slash.
That pirate fellow.
That pirate fellow. Alright, one more chapter for today.
Chapter 10. Thunder gazed across the 4 trees hollow. The cats from the other groups milled around him, waiting for the meeting to start. The sun glittered through the bare branches of the oak, bathing the hollow in cold, bright light. Lightning Tail's breath brushed his ear fur. This place looks bigger in the daylight. Thunder purred softly. Are you missing the dark? He knew that Lightning Tail enjoyed melting into the shadows and watching the other cats. His friend often teased him about his white paws and orange pelt. Too white to hide in the shadows and too orange to hide in the snow. Lightning Tail leaned closer. I don't know why Clear Sky called a meeting so soon after the last one. We'll find out soon enough, Thunder answered. Lightning Tail and Thunder are my favorite ship. But I don't know if they'll be canon ever. I can dream. His father was pacing one edge of the clearing. Starflower watched him. If they do become canon, right? Come on. They're so cute. And they're obviously clearly they have the strongest relationship between 2 cats that aren't siblings. Where was I? I got distracted by love. His father was pacing one edge of the clearing. Starflower watched him, a few tail lengths away, through green eyes. Thunder's pelt prickled with curiosity. How would he persuade the queen to leave her kits? Windrunner and Gorsefur were shifting impatiently from paw to paw. Windrunner had explained that Greywing had wanted to come, but his breathing was bad today. Thunder pictured the Grey Tom in his nest. He must be very ill to miss a meeting. Why? Had he worn himself out hunting? Or was his breathing growing steadily worse? Whatever sickness ailed him, Greywing seemed unable to escape its slowly tightening grip. Thunder pushed the thought away, his gaze flicking to Tall Shadow. The forest cat sat still as stone beside Jagged Peak. Oh, River Ripple, why can I never say his name? While River Ripple and Shattered Ice gazed calmly at Clear Sky. They all have the leader and the deputy. Windrunner whisked her tail. So? She stared questioningly at Clear Sky. Why'd you ask us to come? Thunder pricked his ears as Clear Sky stopped pacing and faced the more cats. My cats are growing hungry.
His gaze flicked around the others. We've tried defending our prey, but the rogues fight like foxes. Paul's shadow curled her lip. They fight like cowards. But they win, Windrunner growled. We've lost half of our caches to them in the past few days. Thunder narrowed his eyes thoughtfully. Then we must learn how to fight like foxes too. No. River Ripple's tail swept the ground. Foxes have cruel hearts. If we fight like foxes, we will become like foxes. Jagged Peak snorted. Then how do we beat the rogues? River Ripple's eyes gleamed. We must learn to fight better than foxes. How? Thunder blinked at him. Lightning Tail had been training his campmates how to rear higher and swipe harder. What else could they do? Lightning Tail blinked excitedly at Thunder. Do you remember the trick we used when we run into Two-Legged Dog in the forest? Thunder paused. The Thunder and Lightning move? Lightning Tail nodded eagerly. We could use it to fight the rogues. Thunder frowned, confused. How? We only use it to escape. But if we changed it a little... Thunder interrupted, his heart lifting as he understood. Of course! Look at that. They're finishing each other's sentences. A bunch of rogues is no worse than a dog. I pull them one way, he began, and I attack from behind. Lightning Tail finished. Windrunner leaned forward. A thunder and lightning move! Thunder. Thunder. Windrunner leaned forward. Show us. Thunder nodded towards Gorsefur, River Ripple, and Shattered Ice. You pretend to be the rogues. Imagine I've just caught a juicy pigeon. Thunder's belly growled as he imagined the plump bird at his paws. River Ripple, Shattered Ice, and Gorsefur patted towards him, ears flattened menacingly. We're all matching. Thunder blinked at them, snatched up the imaginary bird, and turned, running across the clearing. He heard paws pattering after him. He ran long enough for Lightning Tail to get in position. Then he spun, his paws skidding, and reared. Shattered Ice, River Ripple, and Gorsefur scrambled to a surprised halt in front of him. Snarling, Thunder backed away. You could see Lightning Tail race up behind the three cats. With a yowl, the Black Tom flew past Shattered Ice, sliding his paws over the river cat's gray and white flank. Shattered Ice turned in surprise, but Lightning Tail was already circling away towards Gorsefur. He leaped on the moor cat, kicking his spine with his hind paws as he sailed over him. Thunder dived onto River Ripple as the river cat blinked in confusion. It was even easier than Thunder had expected to unbalance the stocky Tom and tackle him to the ground. He leaped off and blinked at the three ruffled toms as River Ripple scrambled to his paws. Lightning Tail raced to his side. They look as confused as any two-legged dog, he purred. Gorsefur shook out his pelt. Shattered Ice shifted on his paws, his pelt prickling. Nice move. Thunder flicked his tail happily. Surprise is the sharpest claw. River Ripple nodded approvingly. And it works even when we're outnumbered. Exactly. Lightning Tail lifted his chin. Gorsefur's eyes lit up. It's a bit like the move we use on rabbits. He was staring excitedly at Windrunner. She hurried towards him. Of course! Earsky pricked his ears. Show us. It's easier to catch a rabbit if we separate it from its group and tire it out, Windrunner explained. She marched around Thunder, Lightning Tail, Shattered Ice, and River Ripple, nudging them closer together. You can be the rabbits, she paused. I mean the rogues. She backed away as Thunder flattened his ears, pretending to be Slash. Shattered Ice hissed beside him, while River Ripple and Lightning Tail lifted their hackles menacingly. Windrunner nodded towards Gorsefur. He seemed to read her thoughts and broke into a run. Thunder twisted his head as the Tom circled them, moving fast. Frowning, he wondered what in the stars Gorsefur was doing. Dirt sprayed beneath Gorsefur's paws as he harried around the bunch of Toms. Then suddenly he veered and barged between Thunder and Lightning Tail. Thunder blinked as he found himself separated from the others. A paw batted his cheek. He spun in surprise and saw Windrunner dash past him. He froze. What do I do now? Gorsefur was still circling Lightning Tail, Shattered Ice, and River Ripple, dodging as they aimed clumsy bows at him. What would a rogue do? Windrunner raced past him again, grazing his cheek with a second stripe. Chase her! Thunder harried after the wiry brown she-cat as she plunged into the break-in. Diving after her, he pounded up the slope. Suddenly he heard paw steps behind him.
He glanced backward and saw gorse fur on his tail. Am I chasing or being chased? Confused, he kept running, tracking Windrunner up the slope and then down until he was breathless. She burst into the clearing. He followed gorse fur at his heels. Thunder ran harder, chasing Windrunner towards the oaks. As he neared, she spun and faced him. He skidded to a halt, and she started to pummel his muzzle. He reared to fight her off, realizing suddenly how breathless he was. Paws thumped him from behind. Thunder gasped as Gorsefur leaped onto his back and tussled him to the ground. Panting, Thunder thrashed his tail. I give up! He struggled to his paws as Windrunner and Gorsefur backed away and fought to catch his breath. You two are fast, he puffed. We spent our days running the moors, Windrunner reminded him. Gorsefur nodded, raising his voice so the others could hear. You must all practice running. The rogues are lazy. I bet we are fitter than them already. With some training, we can be even stronger. That's not enough. Starflower's mew took Thunder by surprise. She padded past Jagged Peak and Tall Shadow and faced the group. You have to learn how rogues fight. Thunder frowned. But I thought we weren't going to fight like foxes. Starflower met his gaze. If you fight a fox, you must know how it thinks. How? Jagged Peak tipped his head. We can't see their thoughts. Starflower flicked her gaze towards him. I am One-Eye's daughter, remember? I know how they fight, using trickery and deceit. I can show you the kind of moves they use. I can teach you what to expect. Clear Sky hurried to her side. You're in no condition to teach battle moves. Starflower halted him with an emerald stare. I'm as fit as the rest of you. If I can give birth to 3 kids, I can certainly teach battle moves. She nodded at Thunder. Attack me. Thunder blinked at her, his gaze flicking uncertainly to Clear Sky. Clear Sky's tail twitched nervously. Be careful, he warned. Starflower glared at her mate. I'm not a mate. Let me reread that. Starflower glared at her mate. I'm not made of cherry blossoms, she snapped. She turned to Thunder, holding his gaze as she backed away from the group. She came to a stop in the middle of the clearing. Attack me! Thunder shifted his paws uneasily. He would go easy on Starflower. She must still be wary of you after her ordeal, and she wasn't used to fighting. He approached her slowly. Her gaze flashed with impatience, but she said nothing. Nearing her, Thunder lifted a forepaw, preparing to swipe lightly at her muzzle. She lunged at him. A forepaw struck him hard on top of his shoulder. Another slammed the same shoulder from the side. Thunder stumbled, shocked as his legs bucked beneath him. He thumped onto his chest, his shoulders numb where Starflower had hit him. His leg was limp as fresh kill. He could hardly feel his paw. He stared up at Starflower as she backed away, lifting her gaze to the others. Rogues like to lame their enemies first, then attack. It's a sneaky trick, but it's effective. If I attack Thunder now, he'd only be able to defend himself with 3 paws. And he'd be pretty confused about what had happened. Gives a rogue all the time they need to deliver a far more demanding blow. Far more damaging blow. She glanced down at Thunder. Are you okay? Sensation was flooding back into his leg. He pushed himself to his paws, staggering slightly. His shoulder felt weak. He blinked at Starflower, impressed. Even play-fighting with Lightning Tail, he had never been overpowered so quickly. Don't worry, Starflower reassured him. It'll be fine in a moment. He shook out his paw, relieved to feel strength flooding back to it. She hit a pressure point. Like Ty Lee. Dipping his head respectfully, he backed away. A loud purr rumbled in Clear Sky's throat. I'm sorry, Starflower, I underestimated you. Windrunner padded closer to the golden she-cat, her eyes sparkling with interest. Can you show me exactly where you hit Thunder? She asked. This is a great move. Jagged Peak, Lightning Tail, and River Ripple moved closer as Starflower laid one paw on top of Windrunner's shoulder and another on the side. Hit the top first, Starflower instructed. A short, sharp blow, then follow it up with a hefty swipe to the side. You need to hit the right spot. It numbs the leg instantly. Thunder padded towards Lightning Tail. Can I try it on you? Lightning Tail nodded, bracing as Thunder lifted a paw. Focusing hard, Thunder slapped one forepaw down on Lightning Tail's shoulder and swung his other into his side. Lightning Tail buckled, and Thunder felt satisfaction flood through his swiftly followed by guilt. Did I hurt you? You crippled me. Lightning Tail glanced up at him reproachfully, and his eyes flashed with amusement. But it is a good move. Starflower blinked at him. Bromance moment at its finest. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but you'll know what to look out for. She circled Thunder. Try it on me, she ordered. Thunder stared at her. I can't. Starflower rolled her eyes. Just try it. Thunder lifted a forepaw. I guess it won't really injure her. As he aimed a blow at her shoulder, she spun around and butted him away with her flank. Thunder wobbled. With one forepaw raised and the other preparing a second blow, he was unbalanced. As he struggled to stay on his paws, Starflower raised his muzzle with a swipe. He steadied himself, blinking. That's smart. Starflower whisked her tail. If a rogue tries to start an attack by aiming for your shoulders, that's how you counter it. River Ripple padded forward. I know a fishing move that might work too. Tall Shadow pricked her ears. They're all giving out a move from their clan. Tall Shadow pricked her ears. Try it on me. River Ripple faced the black she-cat. Use Starflower's move, he told her. Tall Shadow lifted a forepaw. Before she could touch the river cat, he dived beneath her belly. Arching his back, he thumped his spine against her chest. She reeled away, her eyes widening with surprise. You move so fast, she puffed. You winded me. It's a good way to stun a fish. It makes them easier to grab, River Ripple explained. Jagged Peak's eyes shone with excitement. I have an idea. He patted between the others, limping on his weak hind leg. Thunder narrowed his eyes. Jagged Peak was a good fighter considering his lameness, but what could he teach cats with 4 good paws? Jagged Peak caught his eye. I know what you're thinking. Thunder shifted self-consciously. Jagged Peak cut him off. What you don't realize is that I can use my lameness to my advantage. When a cat faces me in battle, the first thing they see is my limp. I can see their expression change as they realize I'm fighting with 3 paws, not 4. They suddenly look as though they've already won the fight. They don't realize that I've been fighting on 3 paws for as long as I can remember, and I'm good at it. Clear Sky frowned. How does that help us? He asked. We're not lame. No, Jagged Peak agreed. Not now, but what if you're injured in battle? Shattered Ice chipped in. Never let another cat see you're injured. They'll know you're vulnerable. Jagged Peak shook his head. Make sure they see you're injured. They'll underestimate you. His gaze flashed to Starflower. We've already seen how easy it is to beat a cat when they underestimate you. Thunder felt his pelt grow hot. Was Jagged Peak referring to how easily Starflower had unbalanced him? Yes, he was. Jagged Peak went on. You must all practice fighting on 3 paws so that you're as strong on 3 as you are on 4. If you're wounded in battle, your enemy won't expect strength. You can take them by surprise. Thunder lifted a hind paw, trying to imagine what it was like fighting without the steadiness of all 4 legs. He was looking forward to practicing. Jagged Peak was right. It would be a useful skill. Clear Sky stepped into the middle. We've taught one another a lot today. His thick pelt was smooth. He looked less worried than he had been at the beginning of the meeting. Let's go home and share what we've learned with our cat mates. Trainers should have all these moves with the younger cats. Trainers should share all these moves with the younger cats. The rogues may think they're winning, but they haven't seen us fight yet. He lifted his chin. When they do, they will realize that we're not as easy as the prey they think we are. Come on! Thunder veered into the track that headed for Clear Sky's forest. Where are we going? Lightning Tail raced behind him. To find the rogue camp. Why? Lightning Tail sounded surprised. I thought we were heading home to teach the others our new moves. We can do that later. Thunder leaped a fallen branch, his paws skimming the mossy bark. I want to see this rogue camp for myself. I have to know what we're up against. But we don't know where the camp is. Lightning Tail cleared the branch and thumped onto the track behind him. Greywing said it was in the marshland beyond Tall Shadow's pines, Thunder told him, near some willows. Can't be hard to find. What do you mean Lightning Tail was with them when they went? Lightning Tail should actually know where to go. Hi, Fire Rescue Guy.
What if we run into the rogues? Thunder slowed and stopped. His friend had a point. The marsh might be swarming with rogues. His ears twitched self-consciously. You should have thought of this first. Let's find prey and take it with us, he suggested hastily. If we're caught, we can say we came to give it to Slash. Lightning Tail frowned. What if they don't believe us? We've never offered them prey before. They've always had to steal it from us. We'll make them believe us, Thunder insisted. He was determined for this plan to work. If we grovel to Slash, he'll enjoy our humiliation so much he won't bother wondering whether we're telling the truth. Lightning Tail grunted. You must really want to see the rogue camp if you're willing to grovel to Slash. Thunder lifted his muzzle, sniffing for prey. With any luck, we won't be seen. We won't have to grovel to any cat. He stiffened as he smelled mouse. Perhaps the stars were on his side after all. In this long, hungry quarter moon, he had almost begun to think their ancestors had stopped watching over them. He pricked his ears as Lightning Tail followed his gaze. Smells like there's a mouse nest under that bramble. Lightning Tail dropped into a crouch and stalked towards the tangled bush. Thunder dropped low and, belly brushing the leafy forest floor, began to make a wide circle around the bush. You flush them out, and I catch what you miss. He stopped behind the bush and waited for Lightning Tail to make his move. The brambles rustled. Squinting in the afternoon sunlight, Thunder could see Lightning Tail's back pelt squirming beneath the branches. The mouse scent was warm and strong. Thunder licked his lips. Leaves swished as Lightning Tail darted deeper into the bush. Frightening squeaks pierced Thunder's ear fur. He scanned the ground for movement. Brown fur flashed to one side. Thunder leaped. Thorns snagged against his pelt and slammed his paws down into the soft body of a fleeing mouse. He hooked his claws around it and drew it close for a killing bite. Sometimes when I move the page down, I lose my spot. Frightened squeaks pierced Thunder's ear fur. He scanned the ground for movement. Brown fur flashed to one side. Thunder leaped, thorns snagging his pelt, and slammed his paws down onto the soft body of a fleeing mouse. He hooked his claws around it and drew it close for a killing bite. The musky scent made his mouth water. Should they take their catch home? Thistle and Clover were starting to look thin. No, I have to see the rogues' camp. We'll take our catch home once we've seen it. Thunder sat up as Lightning Tail padded towards him. A dead mouse dangled from his jaws. Thunder purred. Come on, let's head for the pines. He scooped his mouse up and headed away. Crossing the Thunder Path was easy. There was no sign of monsters. The pine forest beyond it felt gloomy after the oaks. The trees here still had their thick pine needles, and little sunlight filtered through the canopy. How could Tall Shadow and her cats bear to live in such gloom? The smell of pine sap filled his nose, drowning the warm scent of mouse. He was relieved as the trees thinned and he saw marshland ahead. He stopped at the edge of the forest. Behind him, the sun was sinking fast, throwing long shadows across the tussocks of grass. Lightning Tail stopped behind him and dropped his mouse. He nodded towards a stretch of trees crowding a slope at one edge of the marshland. Is that the willow copse? The bare branches looked like willow, and there were no other trees beyond the pines. It must be the right place. Nodding, he carried his mouse from the cover of the pines. He followed the trail as it grew muddy under paw. Lightning Tail's paw steps squelched behind him. Scanning the marshland, Thunder saw a patch of thick grass and reeds. He dropped his mouse. That's it, he whispered. Greywing had described the camp. A ring of grass near willows. How are we going to spy on the rogues without being seen? Lightning Tail stopped beside him and blinked over the socks. Thunder nodded towards the camp. There are plenty of reeds to hide in. He grabbed his mouse and slunk forward, ears pricked. Lightning Tail crept behind him. Thunder held his breath as they neared. Rogue smells mingled with the damp evening air. Relief prickled through his pelt as the sun dipped behind the pines and shadows swallowed the marsh. He ducked lower, moving like a snake over the earth until he reached a clump of reeds. He slipped past them and slid between two tussocks. He stiffened as he heard voices from the marshy grass beyond. They were right outside the camp wall! He laid his mouse on the ground and signaled for Lightning Tail with his muzzle to do the same. Lightning Tail dropped his mouse on top of Thunder's and blinked at his friend. "What now?" he whispered. "We wait." Thunder pressed his belly to the earth and flattened his ears. Stiff marsh grass surrounded them. Lightning Tail's flank felt warm against his as the black Tom wriggled down beside him. Romance. "Look!" Lightning Tail's mew was barely more than a whisper. He was staring at the grass wall of camp. Narrow gaps showed near the roots, and as the sun disappeared and moonlight bathed the marshland, Thunder saw the rogue's clearing glowing beyond the stems. Heart pounding, he squirmed closer until he could see a wide stretch of earth in the middle of the camp. Cats moved at the edges, murmuring in soft voices. Paw steps scuffled the earth nearby, and sleek, dark gray fur blocked his view. He smelt the fragrant scent of a she-cat and peered closer. "Here!" A Tom's mew rang across the camp, and something thudded on the earth beside the she-cat. She hopped out of the way. Thunder could see a scrawny starling on the ground. The she-cat sniffed at it, and Thunder saw the delicate outline of her muzzle. Her amber gaze rested, dismayed, on the starling. Then she jerked her head towards the Tom at the center of the clearing. Slash! Thunder recognized the white slash across the forelegs of the mangy brown rogue. She-cat curled her lips. "You've got better prey than this," she hissed. Slash eyed her coldly. "You're lucky you're getting anything, Violet," he snarled. "You're the weakest hunter in the group." "That's not true," Violet snapped back. "At least I hunt. You steal." "Thank you for the follow, Butankam. Slash's ears twitched. "I'm just taking what's mine." "You wouldn't be like this if Rain were still alive." Thunder heard grief thicken the she-cat's mew. Slash snorted. "What difference would Rain have made? He was so dumb he got killed on the Thunder Path." Violet flinched. "He was never dumb." "Taking you as a mate was the only smart decision he ever made." Slash's mew grew suspiciously soft. Thunder narrowed his eyes. The rogue leader was gazing hungrily at the she-cat. "Why don't you get smart, Violet, and let me take this place? You would not go hungry if you were leader's mate." "You?" "Never!" Violet picked up the starling and stalked away. Thunder's claws itched. How dare Slash try to bully this beautiful she-cat into becoming his mate? He felt Lightning Tail move beside him. Why do they stay loyal to such a foxheart? Thunder didn't answer. He was watching Violet. Her fur had the rich darkness of storm clouds. Her long tail was thick and sleek. Her ears were wide and soft, framing her pretty face perfectly. The fur prickled along his spine as she padded towards the group of cats who were crouching in the shadows at the far side of the clearing. Dang it. This boy and his desire for girls.
Hi, Tatsumari! I'm good. We're reading right now.
Movement caught Thunder's eyes. Slash was heading towards a large prey pile. Thunder's belly felt hollow with hunger as he saw pigeons stacked upon rabbits. Mice and shrews were strewn around the edge. Slash plucked a skinny frog from the bottom of the pile and flung it towards one of the cats beside Violet. Then he tossed a dried shrew to another. One piece at a time, he flung the scrawniest prey to his campmates. And he flicked his tail towards two Toms, who had been silently watching the camp from the head of the clearing.
Splinter, come and choose your meal.
A black and white Tom hurried towards the prey pile, licking his lips.
Go ahead, Splinter.
Slash's mew was indulgent.
You've done well today. You deserve something good to eat.
As Splinter dragged a plump pigeon from the pile, Slash nodded towards the second Tom.
Hurry up, Beetle. This one's still warm.
He pawed a heavy rabbit from the pile, and the black and brown Tom hurried to take it. Thunder's gaze slitted around the camp once more. The other cats, hunched over their meager pieces of prey, were watching Slash through slitted eyes. Why don't they object? Thunder breathed to Lightning Tail. He's giving all the prey to his friends. Giving all the best prey to his friends. Lightning Tail's ears twitched. I'm not sure. I'd claw his pelt off. Frog! Slash called across the clearing. A molted gray tom jumped to his paws.
Yes?
Fear and hope flashed in his gaze. Slash hauled a fat thrush from the prey pile and pushed it towards him. Frog bounded eagerly across the clearing, slowing as he neared Slash. Thunder could see his pelt clinging to his skinny frame. He suddenly realized that most of the rogues were thin. Only Slash, Beetle, and Splinter looked well-fed. He's stolen enough prey from us to feed them all. Frog stopped in front of Slash and glanced at the thrush. Slash's eyes gleamed.
Are you hungry?
Frog nodded. Slash hooked up the thrush with a claw.
Hungry enough to eat this?
Frog nodded again.
What a shame.
Slash tossed the thrush back onto the pile.
If you'd brought back more prey from the moor today, I'd have let you have it. But I can't reward laziness.
I wasn't laziness. Frog bristled. Slash tipped his head.
What was it then? Stupidity?
His mew turned to a growl.
Because I don't tolerate stupidity. A cake could have brought back what you found.
That's not true. Slash lashed out with his paw, slicing Frog's nose. Frog backed away, pelt bristling, blood welled on his muzzle. Slash hooked the squashed wren from the bottom of the pile. It was no bigger than a shrew. He flung it at Frog's paws.
Be glad I'm letting you have that.
Frog held his gaze for a moment. Thunder tensed. Was the skinny Tom going to fight back? He hoped so. But his heart sank as Frog grabbed the wren between his teeth and padded slowly towards a campmate huddled beneath the arching reeds. Fern. Thunder recognized the night-black she-cat as Frog settled beside her. Fern shifted closer to the molted gray Tom and licked the blood from his muzzle. Slash picked a fat gorse from the pile and carried it across the clearing. Thunder pulled his muzzle back sharply.
He's coming this way,
he warned Lightning Tail as the rogue leader padded closer. Splinter and Beetle followed, carrying their prey. And as Slash crouched to eat, they settled beside him. Thunder felt his belly growl as the scent of gorse, rabbit, and pigeon wafted through the camp wall. I hope it disguises our scent, his heart pounded. Let's go, Lightning Tail breathed in his ear.
Not yet.
Thunder stilled his friend by laying his tail across his spine. Let's listen. He couldn't leave now. He had to hear what Slash had to say. Slash took a bite from his gorse and gazed around the camp.
Keep 'em hungry and they do what you say,
he told Splinter, chewing. Beetle sniffed.
They're all spineless.
Splinter ripped off a mouthful of flesh from his pigeon.
I don't know why you bother giving them anything at all. They have their uses, Slash muttered. I need to give 'em enough to make 'em stay around. We won't be able to attack the moorcats by ourselves.
Thunder swallowed a gasp. Slash was planning to attack? He had to warn Greywing and Windrunner. Every muscle twitched as he fought the urge to race off for the moor. He might learn more by staying. He exchanged looks with Lightning Tail. Moonlight showed fear in his friend's gaze. I'll leave as soon as they're asleep, he breathed. Lightning Tail nodded. A damp chill settled around them as they waited. The moon rose higher, turning the marshland silver. Thunder felt dizzy from the scent of Slash's feast. The mice at his paws were still warm, but he didn't dare take a bite. Any movement might set the grass rustling. Instead, he waited, relieved as he saw Slash's head begin to droop. Splinter and Beetle were already asleep, their flanks bulging with their meal. As Slash's nose touched the ground, the rogue gave a satisfied burp and rolled onto his side. A few moments later, he was snoring. Thunder shuddered, his pelt ruffling in disgust. Come on, he hissed, grabbing the mouse tails in his jaws. He crept slowly forward. His paws ached from crouching so long. Moving softly, he padded along the camp wall. Lightning Tail followed, making the grass swish behind them. Suddenly, a murmur sounded from the shadows ahead. Why should we put up with it? Thunder froze. Squinting to see through the darkness, he made out the shapes of 4 cats. They were crouched in the moonshade outside the camp wall. He strained to hear what they were saying. Their mews softened to whispers. Lightning Tail stopped beside him and flashed him a look. The huddled cats murmured, their voices quieter than the rustling of the reeds. They clearly didn't want anyone to hear what they were saying. Had they waited for Slash to fall asleep before they dared to talk? Could they be plotting against their leader? Thunder jerked his muzzle towards the pines, the mice swaying beneath his chin. Lightning Tail nodded. Together they slipped silently away from the rogue camp. As they neared the trees, he glanced back and saw a pair of eyes shining in the dark. He recognized the amber gaze of Violet at once. She must be one of the cats whispering outside the camp. Was she staring at him? He felt frozen by her gaze. His heart quickened. She's beautiful. Come on! Lightning Tail's hiss jerked him from his thoughts. Quickly he darted after his friend into the shadows of the pines. Violet's gaze still burned in his mind. Then he remembered Slash's words. Why don't you get smart and let me take his place? A leader's mate would never go hungry. Rage surged beneath his pelt. He had to get her away from the vicious rogue. She wasn't safe here. Why is Thunder's taste hero complex? Like he always picks the quote unquote damsel in distress, but she's not actually a damsel. She's like, she can hold her own self. But he's like, I'm gonna protect you. And they're like, I don't need you to protect me, but whatever. It's like, I'm gonna get you out of here. And they're like, I was planning to leave before you ever showed up, dude. He's like, thanks to me, you're safe. No. They were fine without you, Thunder. Hilarious. Did I cut off this? Right, I did. Rage surged beneath his pelt. He had to get her away from the vicious rogue. She wasn't safe here. He dropped the mice. We'll take these back to camp, he told Lightning Tail. And tomorrow, we'll leave at dawn and warn Windrunner about the attack. And somehow, I'll find a way to help Violet escape. And Lightning Tail is always, like, not interested. That's because Lightning Tail likes dudes. We know this. He doesn't bat an eyelash at anybody. He's like, my love is by my side always. He's pining constantly. Thank you for the follow, Deathly Hero! Yay! Okay. We actually ended up streaming the exact same amount of time anyways because... Well, actually, no. Not exactly the same amount, but close to when I started at least. Yay! Okay, chapter 11 is next. Will we continue next week? I have the... Oh, yes, we will continue next week. But the week after that, we won't because I'll have that crazy event going on. The big event. And it smells like rotten eggs in my room. Or like a fart. But I didn't fart. Okay, guys, I'm gonna... Okay. TMI? TMI? My farts have been really, really stinky recently. And when I was going to work the other day, I had a little toot right before I was let inside the building, and the manager that let me inside, he was like, "Whew, it's stinky out here. Is there a skunk?" And I was like, I was like, "Oh, wow, I didn't smell anything." Ooh, really? Cucumbers and lemon water. Do the farts make them smell better? I mean, do the farts smell better, or do they smell like nothing? Thank you! Thank you for hanging out! Thank you for listening. Thank you for being, Cleonos? Uonos? They say it helps. Well, worth a shot. Guess to be fair, I actually don't know. You're farting out like bacteria, right? And that's what stinks.
So if you don't have bacteria in you...
Chio's birthday?
Okay, I got it.
Oh my god, guys, it's Chio's birthday! Let's raid Chio.
Hey, humans drink lemon water all the time. So your farts are indecisible. Indecipherable? Indetectable. Undetectable farts. That's good. We'll never know you were there.
I wanted to raid it, but no.
Alright, we'll raid... Chio!
No,
You have to do Ed?
it's
No.
not that stuff.
There we go.
A birthday!
Yes, we'll wish...
No,
we'll wish
I meant to- okay, wait.
Chio a happy birthday. She's doing a hand cam. Wow. And tomorrow we will either play Heartopia or My Voice Zoo, depending on how my voice is tomorrow. Because slashes kind of hurt my throat, but not too bad.
Okay, guys, I love you. I'll see you tomorrow.
So
Bye-bye.
deep.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.